Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Late start today. Late start. Had a lot to do in the morning. Had to get it done. Appreciate you coming through, no matter when, no matter where. Anytime you spend with us here on Hoop Spaces, it is appreciative. Thursday, November 10th, the NBA back in action last night as we looked at a great evening of games post-election day. We're going to chop it up and get into it. The Bowl Express is powering itself through the Dallas Mavericks. We got the Clippers putting a nail in the coffin, and the Lakers, the Kings shocking the Cavs. Much more to get to. Finishing up the newsletter, too, so I'm going to get back to that. I'll be back in 30. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Thursday, November 10th. We got a lot of basketball to get to. We've got a little condensed time here. Probably go until about 1:30. Then I have to get and going. So if you want a mic, go ahead and request it. Full disclosure, I am still finishing up the newsletter. Unfortunately, in life, you have some things in life that you have to end up getting done. And one of them today was a family matter. So I do appreciate your guys' patience, because I actually had about 11 people this morning reach out wondering where today's issue was. It'll be up and out in about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to bring up some people. And you know what to do. If you know you're not going to be able to pop up here and you want to get involved, if you look at the bottom right, there is a chat box. Hit that up and say good morning. Justin Patton, ladies and gentlemen, JP, the franchise, already hitting us up. I'll get that issue out for the newsletter. But we got some stuff to talk about. And if you're a Knicks fan or a Nets fan, you're going to go ahead and be able to come up. We're going to get this done in the first hour of the show so that we can get ready for Knicks fans to go to KCBA, as they're going to, be here in abject misery because they didn't just lose last night. They, as my friend said, got blown out. It was really bad. Like, do not let the final score make you believe that it was any competitiveness going on in that. We have Bonkai up here and Joe, the historian. I want to give a shout out down below to Jose, who in 77 Spaces fashion last night still showed up to support Rolo, who was rolling solo. I popped through there. It's a phenomenal experience. So make sure you shoot Jose a follow here and check out 77 Spaces. The best day of Mavs coverage and pregame you can get. Shout out also down below to Verl Nico, always supporting the cause with likes and retweets. We appreciate it. I see Santa Rosa and McKenzie in the building. There's Rasir. And I tell you what, there's some Clippers fans popping up in here who I think are going to want to start gloating after that 12 o'clock hour. Shout out Edward Vera, known since Clubhouse. All right. We have up top here Bonkai and Joe, the historian. We will go to Joe first. To the victor goes the spoils. Joe, go ahead and get your gloat on, friend. The Nets in dominating fashion defeat the New York Knicks last night, 112-85. Joe, the floor is yours. Good morning.
How y'all doing today? Good morning, everybody. You know what this rivalry that they call a rivalry is now between the Knicks and the Nets? If you ever saw, basically, if anybody seen WWE, know that, saying Roman Reigns is probably one of the greatest of all time, but anybody knew he had a big brother. That's how it is now. We're Roman Reigns and then the big brother because you don't even know who the big brother is anymore. But what I loved about last night's game is that it continued from the 4 games. Is that in the first 7 games, if you saw the Nets play, we were god awful defensively in the first quarter. Saying like we have been we've been better and defensively in the first quarter, and and then in the 7 games that we lost. I mean, not lost, but first 7 games, the third quarter, the ball movement was stopped, and it would be a lot of iso ball like we had the years before where it didn't work. And I'm glad that we cleaned that up too. And the fourth quarter defense and stuff like that was good. But I just had to say something about Ben Simmons. Now, saying like the Nets fans, saying during and Twitter spaces are so high and low with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons have a bad game, trade him, he's trash. Saying like tonight or last night, they were saying that we just can't wait to see the real Ben Simmons now. Saying like, yeah, I need to calm down with the Ben Simmons thing. He's gonna get better. He's going to look good in this offense and this defense. So, saying just calm down with I'm talking about the Nets fans. But yeah, it was a good game.
All right. We've got Joel, the Dutch Nets fan, up here as well. Joel, good morning, good evening, where you are, good afternoon. I can't remember if you are 6 or 8 hours ahead of us. Your thoughts last night about the Nets' victory over the Knicks?
6 hours ahead I am, and it's a good afternoon still for me. So, I mean, I agree partially with what Joe said. We Nets fans get too high and too low on Ben Simmons. That's definitely true. Overall, the game, I enjoyed the game. I mean, we haven't lost to the Knicks in a couple of years. And they were really celebrating our sweep when we got swept by the Celtics in the playoffs. So in that sense, it was good to, get them back because the Knicks were making fun of us for the Kyrie stuff and Nash getting fired and blah, 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 blah. But no matter how bad we are, we're still better than the Knicks. So I definitely enjoyed that. Overall, I think with Jacques Vaughn, I'm not happy with the hire. But that being said, because I feel like Sean Marks, hires his friend Steve Nash, he hires Jacques Vaughn, who he has an established relationship with. But I do feel, that there are more experienced coaches out there that we could have at least considered, even if Ime, was not a good idea because whatever things happened in Boston. But many Nets fans thought that even despite Nash being a bad coach, we could still make it, to the finals or have a good run. And I believe that Vaughn is a superior coach to Steve Nash. So I think that even if Jacques Vaughn is not an elite coach, we don't know if he is, I still think that he can, if the players buy in, we can go far, right? So I hate the whole blow it up talk. The rebuild talk is insane to me. Let's see. But it was a good win last night, so let's see where we go from here.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I believe it was a good win. I didn't really think the Nets were going to need to blow it up. And asked yesterday on yesterday's show about specifically what team would be better or have a better chance of turning it around between the Nets, Lakers, and then you throw in the Sixers. I think the Sixers do because they don't have to make moves. They have to get healthy. But in comparison to some of the other teams that struggled, the Brooklyn Nets were never in a bad situation. With Kyrie Irving not playing, they still actually have movable contracts and now tradable assets to actually try to compete this year. If Kyrie weren't coming back, they can load up a Joe Harris size contract at 17 and a half, add a couple more players, make it 23, and you can pick up, any player from Buddy Hield to Kelly Oubre plus a couple extras, throw in a pick. Maybe you get Terry Rozier. You never know. Whereas the Lakers are just screwed. They're screwed. All right, we've got Bonkai and Sean with the W up here. I want to remind everybody, if you are somebody who wants to experience the NBA in a way that is outside your comfort zone, meaning your fan base, this is a great time to go ahead and pick up people who are really good follows here on Twitter and learn about their fan base and become a better fan. One of those people, my friend Sean with the W here, host of Live from the Mecca. You can also find his work on Knicks Film School. Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. I want to start out by giving a big shout out to Podthorn. I want to give him a shout out because I was prepared to come on this platform and remind everybody that the Knicks versus Nets game was the Nets bowl game, because they want to win this game way more than we do, because they've gone from multiple parades down Flatbush to, hey, we can beat the Knicks, even though they have arguably the best player in the world. But he decided to throw his cape on and defend Ime Udoka like it's his uncle, which was weird to me, but whatever. And we all know he would not have given a crap if he weren't going to be the Nets coach, but I digress. But because he went on that soliloquy, I did not have time because I had meetings to attend. So he may have saved me from looking silly, but at the same time, it was their bowl game. It always is their bowl game. It always will be their bowl game. And last night they played like it, and we did it. And we did not match their energy. We did not match the effort. The vibes around this team. Listen, this team is 5-6. They're mid. They are tied for the 15th best record in the league. That is the epitome of mid. They're literally in the middle of the pack. But the vibes around this team are not good, because, as I said last night on the post-game show for Knicks Film School, it's not that we're 5-6. It's how we are 5-6. The loss to Memphis game 1, all right, that's cool. Memphis is good. Blowing that lead against Atlanta, allowing Milwaukee to go on an 18-0 run in the third quarter, allowing the Celtics to shoot 27 threes, hits 27 threes in a win. Sam Howell just hit another one. That's the third loss. The fourth loss, allowing Donovan Mitchell, Dean Wade, and Kevin Love to hit 17 threes between the three of them. That was nasty. And then last night, just not showing up from the tip. And it was just, ugh. So you remember what I said, Chris, at the beginning of the year, the goal of the season just to not suck. And it's not that we suck, but it's just the vibes, like the way we're going about it. It's like, there's one thing to be in the middle, but there's a difference between being in the middle and being stuck in the middle. And now it looks like this team is just stuck in terms of what they're trying to do. And a pivot point may be coming sooner rather than later. And this team may have to. We will find out in the next few weeks if Leon Rose is truly a wartime consigliere. Because if he is not, then Mr. Dolan will come down from upon high and tell everybody to get what I like to call the fuck out. Because the vibes around this team are just no good at all.
The vibes are not immaculate.
They're not immaculate. And the worst part about it is, and I'll wrap up after this, and I'm sure Bangkok will touch on this, Knicks Twitter is now divided into hives. There's the Randall hive, the RJ hive, the Reddish hive, the Obi hive, the Quickly hive. And last night, everybody was pointing fingers and saying, this dude sucked. And it's like, yo, if your dude is shooting, if you can't point fingers at another players on a team when the guy you cape for is shooting tour dates, putting up triple singles, putting up Tony Snell numbers. Like, Knicks non-centers last night shot 21 of 76 from the field. That's 28%. Everyone was garbage. Julius was bad. RJ was bad. Brunson was bad. I forgot he has a hive too. Reddish was bad. Quickly was bad. They were all bad. It's just annoying. That's the annoying part. It's like, I don't care if you're 5-6, but just like I remember in the 2021 season, the We Here season, we started 5-8. I felt fine. I was like, all right, something's going on here. This the vibes are far from immaculate.
Let me get Bonkai in here real quick. Bonkai, good morning. Your Knicks lost. They looked horrible. They looked putrid. They looked phony. They looked, another adjective with the letter P, because we're big on the P word today, apparently. My son just started. He's got this kid in class, and like he's on a spectrum, and sometimes he gets fixated on words, and like he literally just rattles them out of the dictionary. My son has started to copy him, and so now I'm doing it as well. Bonkai, good morning.
Wait a minute. The word that rhymes with wussy.
You know what? He didn't get there, but I can say I saw the game, and there was a couple moments, bro. Let me stop. Bonkai, go ahead. What you got?
Terrible morning, Chris. Terrible morning, everybody. Shout out to Sean, Nico. I'm very embarrassed, disappointed by what the Knicks displayed last night. Right from the tip, they were not ready, and it just kept getting worse and worse after each quarter. I don't know where the team's head is at right now, but I'm going to go with the fact that I believe that this team, that some of the players, or maybe all the players, have subconsciously kind of just tuned out Tom Thibodeau at this point. He's coaching them, but I don't think that what he's preaching is kind of really getting to these players at this point. It just feels like Sean said, the vibes are not immaculate. I kind of feel like the players have just tuned them out, and they've done it subconsciously, and they're just like in this space where like, all right, he's telling us to do X, Y, and Z, but it just doesn't really resonate with us. So I feel like it's starting to, it's coming to a point where like I think he's gonna be gone soon. I wouldn't even be surprised if he got fired today, because that was just an inexcusable loss altogether, to do it in front of national TV against the Nets, to show zero effort on both ends of the floor and altogether. But like I said, I think they're just tuning him out at this point. You can only get so much out of out of certain head coaches after some point, right? I think he got us to a certain peak. Some of these players learned all they needed to learn from him. Like, sure, they got like good principles and things like that, but I think that's as far as it goes. And I think you just need a new voice in the locker room. You need new offensive schemes, because the offense is just terrible. Like, if you sat there last night and you watched that whole game, the offense is horrible. Like, you got guys running up the floor, jacking up threes, going ISO almost every possession. There's no plays being ran. Like, I don't know what I'm watching in terms of offense. And yeah, it's just really poor. It's just really bad. Like I'm trying to justify it to myself in a way where like,
well, you can't really justify it. It was a bad loss.
No. Like, in terms of like, it's games and nights like last night that make me like kind of like, realize that, okay, all of this is going to be for a higher payoff one day, right? Hopefully in my lifetime, like, I'll be able to look back at these type of games, these type of nights eventually, when hopefully we do win a championship, and hopefully I'm still alive for it. And I'm just going to think like, I really went through that, and I did it. Like I did it, and it all paid off one day. You know what I mean? Like, it justifies my fandom to still keep going as a Knicks fan.
Well, I tell you what, as somebody who lived through the process, I can understand what you are feeling in terms of a never-ending cycle of being punched in the gut. There you go.
It gets hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say that. It gets hard for me personally. Like, I watched the game last night, and I'm like, shit. Like, how many more years can I keep doing this, of watching this team doing this? And I'm just like, nah, you know what? Just keep going. It's gonna pay off one day.
I'll get you in a second, Joe. Anthony, what's up, man? Good morning. I'll let you go ahead. You'll get the last word in on the Knicks. We'll let Joe come back in here. He'll say something, have a question. Sean will close it up, and then we'll move on to the next game, because we have too many games to cover on this condensed schedule. Anthony, go ahead. Your thought on the Knicks. They suck. What's up?
We suck. There you go. Last night was just bad, man. I mean, Brunson was just terrible defensively. I was just like, my God. I don't know, man. At the point, I'm about to start calling before he throws the name in a minute.
Oh, don't even see. Don't do that.
I'm gonna call it.
Don't do that.
Listen, it's gonna have to happen, goddamn it. It's gonna have to happen.
You gotta start sounding like Pod Thorne in a second.
Yo, Anthony, Edmund Summer. Jesus Christ, man.
I mean, hey.
No disrespect to him.
Edmund Sumner would have been a first-round pick had he not been hurt in his senior or junior year in Xavier. He was on the radar as a 6'4", 6'5" combo guard, and then he ended up getting hurt, and then he ended up performing poorly because he rushed back too early.
No disrespect to him at all, Chris. Like he played really well, but I'm saying, like, would you put in your bingo card? Getting killed by Edmund Sumner, like. It's just.
I mean, either was Edmund Sumner or Cam Thomas. Don't matter. You got burned. Joe, hurry up, hop in here, get your retort, and we'll get Sean to close us out.
No, I was just saying, like, I'm not trying to harp on the Knicks fans today, but I was saying that when I was watching the fourth quarter, there was saying, I think it was from the beginning of the fourth quarter to like 5 minutes left, the Knicks, they shot. So they missed 21 of 20 shots, 21 shots. And, saying they was just jacking up threes and not playing offense like that. And I was saying, like, yo, they're not listening to the coach. I was saying that the fourth quarter, too.
All right. Sean, I also saw at least one positive sign, and that actually kind of made me chuckle. Julius Randle had a decent game. And it looked as though he had a decent game.
Get out of here.
If it wasn't for Julius Randle, we got beat by 40.
No, by 40.
40.
Why? You can say get out of here.
What are you talking about, Ben? I mean, Chris? He was shooting good in the first, but he did not show up in the second.
Well, he did. Of course, he didn't show up in the second. He was already done. The team was done. He was flat. The team was flat. He still had a very good first half and ended up as the best played Knick last night, right? That's what I'm alluding to, Sean. Go ahead.
So he was the tallest little person last night. And I don't even know if what I said was correct.
That is nasty.
But like, okay, I just posted something on the Jumbotron. It's like, look at the video I posted in the Jumbotron. That's Julius Randle for you. So, because Monday he went 8 of 15 from 3, or 8 of 13, whatever. And the Randle high was like, see, look at this. Like, you think that shit is sustainable. Like, and then for some reason, every time he plays Kevin Durant, he thinks he's going mano a mano with this dude. Like, bro, you are not Kevin Durant. And he wants to, like, listen. The next good Knicks team, the next great Knicks team will not have Julius Randle a part of it. So the sooner, like, just let it go. I'm not saying this to you, Chris, but like to the Randle Hive, the people that think 2010-5, like, he's not good for us long term. Thanks for the memories. It's time to say goodbye.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, just train him to a contender or something like that.
We would have got beat by 40 last night. It wasn't.
If you ain't first, you're last.
I want to give a shout out to some Nets fans down below. Warren is in the building. We were pouring one out for the New York Knicks. Warren, McKenzie's in the building. ASAP's in the building. If y'all want to pop up here and get a one-liner off throughout the show, you can hop up here and let Knicks fans know exactly how you feel. But we do have to move on. We just don't have the normal time because I had to actually do some stuff this morning that I just don't like. I don't like when people don't do what they're supposed to do. And unfortunately, something happened impacting my personal life. And I had to take the time out to handle it. Some of those things suck. All right, here are your scores from last night, ladies and gentlemen, because we didn't even do that. Magic defeat the Mavericks 94-87. The Trailblazers defeated the Hornets 105-95. Nuggets over the Pacers 122-119. I'm telling you what, I actually caught that game on local TV. I get blacked out here, but I was at my neighbor's, and those Pacers are somebody we need to talk about as a legitimate team to get into the play-ins, if not a bottom 6 seed. They look phenomenal at times. The Jazz,
they got one of the best young rookies in the league.
Yeah, Benedict Mathurin. Let me get through. The Jazz handed it to the Hawks 125, 119 to the disbelief of Hawks fan TV and Hawks fans everywhere. The Jazz are actually legit. They are for real. And Trae Young looked like ass last night again. Celtics 128, Pistons 112. The Nets beat the Knicks that we just talked about 112-85. 116-109. The Toronto Raptors defeated the Houston Rockets. Pelicans beat the Bulls 115-111. The Suns, without Chris Paul, are still the Suns 129-117. Devin Booker, another good day, 32 and 10 assists. The Bucks 10-1. They beat the Thunder. And by the way, for all of you SGA MVPologists and SGA All-Star Game vote, enthusiasts, be quiet. Like you're not gonna make it if all you do is score 30 points but can't get 7 assists to 7 rebounds and lose to a Giannis and Drew and Chris Middleton-less Bucks squad led by Javon Carter.
Thank you.
That right there.
Thank you.
And
Took your All-Star game away.
Don't forget Grayson Allen, too.
Go ahead, Sean.
And it's funny because the Knicks fans out here are begging for us to trade SGA like he's freaking prime Kobe, and it's disgusting because you know what it is when the guy on the other team that you cry about does well, you notice it, but when he does poorly, you never hear about it. So yes, let's settle down on the SGA talk, please.
It's absolutely insane. In fact, I'm getting ready to publish it now. If you go on to the actual newsletter, we do a top 5, and it's a nightly top 5. Every night it changes, and we go through, we list the players by position, and you know who's the best point guard last night? It wasn't Ja Morant. It wasn't SGA. It was Javon Carter, the dude the Nets got rid of for Chris Chiozza. And you want to be up here saying that SGA is going to be an MVP.
Hey, Chris, we was at the Spaces last night, and when I heard somebody said that Carter had 32 points, I didn't even hear they say Javon. I thought Vince before I thought Javon. That is crazy.
All right, look, let me get this out here real quick. Anybody else got anything in terms of Javon Carter? Because we really are celebrating a dude who's unknown to most people.
I remember that dude at West Virginia. He was a bucket there.
Oh yeah, that's West Virginia, bro. That's West Virginia. Grizzlies beat the Spurs 124-122. The Clippers are opening the Lakers' funeral. The Lakers are in a tailspin, and they now possibly, perhaps, maybe, could be looking at no LeBron James. And at this point, I ask, why do you even show up? Lakers fans, you still have good weather in SoCal. Why don't you go to the beach, or why don't you go shopping at one of your outdoor malls and leave this negative weight of your mental health at home? And then the Kings, 127-120 over the Cavs. And I'm going to ask the question, has Mike Brown figured it out in Sacramento? And is this an actual pivot point and a turning point for the Kings? We'll discuss. We have Evan Townsend, Bakari, Bonkai, Anthony, John, Joel, and Sean up here. Get a big shout out to the Cortland Christian down below. My man Isa down below. Shoot him a follow. Saint from Next Kingdom is also in the building. I'm sure he'll pop up when he's kid free. And we had a momentary visit by Spoon of Zeke. We'll see if he pops back in here. All right, we are going to go up to the floor. The next game that we're going to cover, we will let Evan Townsend of Project Spurs decide. You can catch Evan Townsend over at Project Spurs also this year, year 2, covering the NBA draft. Back better than ever. Evan, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. What's going on, everybody? Last night's game between the Grizzlies and the Spurs was really exciting. For the past few years, pretty much ever since Ja Morant became Ja Morant, he's had the Spurs number. Even with DeJounte in town, a defensive presence like that, he would just torch us. A lot of players were out last night. Obviously, Triple J is out for a while. A lot of their wings weren't really playing up to their level, especially in their bench unit. A lot of rookies were getting a lot of playing time. But we matched. We were ready. Josh Richardson is doing Josh Richardson things. Please come get him. It'll cost a first-round pick. Charles Bassey is actually from San Antonio. He went to high school out here. We got him for free. And last night, he was our backup big and did exceptionally well. Second game in a row, getting 10-plus minutes, 10 points, a couple clutch blocks. He's our rim protector. He's our athletic, rim-rolling rim protector that we did not have. Gorgie Jing, I'm sorry. You just ain't cutting it, big fella. So, Charles Bassey is getting minutes. Zach Collins is out for a couple weeks. So, it's next man up. And, a lot of Spurs fans were really low on Jeremy Sohan solely because this kid could not shoot. His shot looks like a catapult that needs some oil, needs a little bit of retooling. And to be honest, his defensive presence, even though we came up short in overtime, coming up with those those two steals in the last 20-25 seconds, just to give us some life. Obviously, we came up short. Obviously, we missed the last shot. Keldon Johnson didn't have the best game, but what did Devin Vassell have? 22 points. Devin Vassell is literally like I said this before. Devin Vassell will probably be the second coming of Rip Hamilton. He may make one All-Star team. He won't be the leading scorer of a winning team, but he'll be the nice complementary piece you need in your starting lineup or your sixth man to give you 25, 26 points with maybe 10 dribbles, a movement shooter coming off screens, mid-range knockdown, cush, three-pointer cush, all that. So just keep that in mind. If you're a team that wants these guys, it'll cost you a little bit more than a first-round pick, for some most improved player candidates. But that's not all I got. I have to let's get a little raunchy. Let's get a little spicy real quick. I know I'm just a media member. I'm not really supposed to say this, but I saw a rumor. I heard a rumor, and I actually saw a leak. The Spurs are kind of in a little bit of a purgatory with all this Josh Primo stuff. They're getting sued by the therapist that is, obviously more than likely in the right for what she's claiming that Josh Primo did 9 times before the Spurs did anything. The Spurs haven't renewed. And let me read this room quick. Hold on, let me read this room. Make sure ain't nobody in here. The Spurs have not renewed their contract for their stadium, and a lot of
I saw that.
And a lot of people are hinting towards not even just Austin now, but all I'm gonna say is, if Coach Pop retires, anything can happen. And from top to bottom in the sports organization, they have no leverage to say we can keep this team in San Antonio. That's. I feel like I should be the person to say that in a space like this, because realistically, when I go to a game in San Antonio, when I'm in around the city, it is not the same vibe as it was in 2013, 2014. Obviously, 2 different teams. Obviously, tanking versus championship contention. But it's just like the vibe of the city being behind the team, supporting the team, is not there anymore. And even in a close game last night, just people kind of didn't want to really root for this. I'm not saying root for the Spurs, but it's more on the lines of just like a shaky type of feel. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say now. I'm not going to talk too much into it. I don't know anything from left, from right, but just know that from the media perspective, it's kind of floating around that we don't know. We kind of don't know what's going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't even going to bring this up. I was going to wait maybe to talk to you offline. Matthew McConaughey has recently reached out to big brokers in Texas business, right? And he's a huge Austin development fan in terms of developing the city of Austin. And like I saw as well, Evan, there's actually 3 places. If you guys don't follow Shlomo, who writes for Forbes Business covering the NBA, he also put something out there that it was interesting. When they started looking at how teams were doing the naming rights, 3 teams popped up as why they haven't either secured a new place to play in the current location or have yet to re-up on their current lease. And the Spurs were the first one on top. So there you go. Interesting stuff. But we don't know until we know. All right. We got Bakari up here. He's going to want to talk Celtics and Pistons. We don't really, care about the Boston Celtics. We don't like the Boston Celtics because they're the Boston Celtics. But he's here, and because we are inclusionary, we will allow him to talk about his Boston Celtics. Bakari, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I did not.
All right, everybody give Bakari a round of applause. That was a great take on those Boston Celtics. Thank you, and we appreciate it. All right, you can come back up, Bakari. That was just a bit, but it was just too easy. I say that because I had people, basically making fun of me as a Sixers fan again about Jason Tatum. I'm over it. The trade was made. I wouldn't have done the trade, but it was made. All right, we'll get Bakari up here, and then he can actually talk about those Boston Celtics. We will give Bakari a point because Boston won, and we will give him a point for being a good sport and taking the jump. Bakari, good morning. The floor is yours.
I'm just wondering if I get kicked again, so I'm just gonna say this pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying?
You'll be fine.
Now.
You're fine.
This game was competitive until the third or fourth quarter, and then Jason Tatum became the second Kobe Bryant. I have to say Jalen Duren is really good at basketball. The Pistons have a really good direction. I like the pieces they have, like Jalen Duren, for example, and Jaden Ivey. He's really good. He's very good as well. He was cooking us a lot of possessions, and a very weird spot I've seen is Pistons community talking about Cade Cunningham's production this game was very mid. He was very bad at this game, but he's a very good player. It's just he has to go up against one of the best teams in the league, so it's nothing bad about that. And also Killian Hayes, you know what I'm saying? He did cook Jason Tatum for one possession. He had 16 points. But I think he has one of the worst plus minuses in the whole league, so I don't know. This game was pretty much meaningless, so yeah.
Dang, meaningless.
I mean for real. They try harder for 3 quarters, and then they just got obliterated by Sam Hauser. It's okay. Happens sometimes.
Hey, Sam Hauser, man, he can drop those buckets from deep.
If they let him open, of course he's gonna hit it.
It's the next coming of Davis Bertans right there. We have Damo up here. Damo missed Evan Townsend's wonderful breakdown, which we'll actually thank because he would probably not like what came after the breakdown. Damo, good morning. How you doing?
Evan, you was in here talking Spurs and I wasn't here, man. That's cold-blooded, dog. I thought we was better than that. You could have shot me a text. You told me that your segment was starting, brother. That's crazy, man.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
I thought we was better than just internet friends. I thought we was anyway. That's the point, man. How you doing, Chris? How's life, man?
Well, that's an offline question today, bro.
Okay, never mind. We'll discuss that later then. Listen, man. The San Antonio Basketball Spurs took a loss last night, and I don't believe in moral victories. Because that's just how I was raised. But I'm not upset this morning. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like this. I think that there are a couple different levels to being a good basketball team and building a contender. One of those things is how well do you play against other teams that are contenders? Do you look like you belong on the court with them? And then secondly, can you visibly see where your team can improve, and do you believe that improvement is going to take place? So when I watched that game last night, I was noticed 3 things. Number one, Greg Popovich is using Jeremy Sochan as a defensive weapon to guard whomever is a headache to the team last night. So I saw Sochan not switch out on, but pick up Ja Morant a couple times at half court or in the backcourt and pressure him. I saw him on Desmond Bain. I saw him a little bit on Dylan Brooks, and then he was primarily guarding whoever that number 7 forward that the Grizzlies have that has a weird last name. So that was number one. I like that. I like the fact that Pop trusts him to do that. And then he like kept taking these corner threes that I want him to keep taking, but he will eventually begin to make. And I'm looking at it right there, and I'm saying, okay, I can see where he will naturally progress into like a 16 to 17 point per game player, while also becoming an excellent defender. Keldon had a bad game yesterday, but we still went in overtime and like only lost by 2. Down the stretch of that game, we had like multiple opportunities to get a win in regulation, and then we had a good shot at the end. Well, I won't say a good shot. We had a shot at the end that would have won it. Devin looks like Devin. He looks like that guy. I think that we have a legitimate chance. I think that we legitimately might have a 1-2 combo in Devin and Keldon that can be the centerpiece of a team that goes on and competes at the highest level. It's just about like growing.
One first and second option.
Offensively?
On the wait. That one. A first and second option on a championship contending team. Is that what you said?
Let him go. Let him go.
Evan, I watched. Listen, man, Keldon's giving me 23. Devin's giving me 20. Like they're not, and they're doing it on decent production. Like they're not the issue with our offense, and I don't think our offense is an issue. I think we need a point guard. As much as I like Trey, I think we need a top-tier point guard. I think we need to get better defensively. But I can't ask for much more than 23 and 20, and from my wing while also being decent defenders and like shooting good percentage. He's not Luka, he's not Tatum, but it's only 7 of those guys in the league anyway. So I'm cool with that. Like I'll take Devin and Keldon as a 1-2 combo, and I think they're still getting better. I think that Keldon can still progress and get a better mid-range game. I think Devin can get better finishing at the rim. But I've watched them progress year over year. I don't think that they've maxed out their steps. I think they have another gear they can go into at the top level.
Okay, you kind of saved yourself at the end.
Look, man, hey, you gotta let Damo do it though. Like, see, his greatest strength, Evan, right, is he will drag the people who are not trying to move forward, right, at the consternation of those who want to take a more conservative approach. He will drag you forward. And we have to say this. This was Keldon Johnson's worst game of the season, and he scored 16 points. Like
if that's not a number one, if that's not a player that can be a number one but isn't quite there yet, I don't know what it looks like.
So I'm gonna
averaging 23 points.
Can I explain something real quick?
Well, I'll give you 30 seconds because I have a question that I want to proffer to both of you regarding Keldon Johnson.
I got you. So Keldon Johnson's one issue is that he cannot self-create for himself on a consistent basis. He can dribble. He can come off a dribble handoff or a pick and roll and get to the lane, Euro step, get a foul or float or possibly slam on somebody. But here's the thing. You put a lockdown defender on him, 3-2, he's not scoring. We saw last night we cannot get a clutch bucket when we needed it most in the fourth quarter. Devin Vassell is more of that guy. That's why he took that shot. Okay, Keldon Johnson is 6'5". Keldon Johnson cannot guard more than 3 positions. Keldon Johnson is not a first option on the championship on any team. So realistically, if he can develop into maybe a third option and just, I don't want to say tie him to like a Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday role, but just be a third option in terms of scoring. Damo, he scores because we have I know you saw the NBA University and John Cho tweet the playmaking we had in the third quarter where we passed the ball, everyone got involved, all that kind of stuff. That's the Spurs offense. We do that every single time. We wait until the best available shot. And most of the time, we set up Keldon in his favorite spot, the corner threes on the left side or the wing threes on the right side. He knocks that down every single time. So,
all right. So I'm going to disagree with you, Evan, and I'm going to ask you this question, and Damo's also going to hear this. The more I see Keldon Johnson, the more I see a sturdier Michael Redd. And if you if you remember Michael Redd in his prime was giving you 23, 25, 26, and 23 points per game. He could not create for himself, but he was actually that good offensively that the Bucks were able to actually get him his buckets within the rhythm of the offense.
And did those Bucks team have a prime secondary scorer?
Well, I never said anything about that. I just talked about Keldon Johnson. Why would I want to bring up any? Like Milwaukee was not good those years, man. Like,
yeah, that's true. That is true. The rebuttal that I have to Michael Redd and Keldon Johnson is Michael. Oh man, yeah, you could say because Keldon Johnson is putting those type of numbers 3-point percentage wise. He is. That is a good point.
It's even better
because last year before Christmas it was like sub 20%. Remember that, Damo? It was abysmal.
Yeah, he went on a tear.
And then he went on the tear after the second half of the season. Yeah.
Right.
So I can give you that one player that I have to before I go. One player that I have to compare that Michael Redd comparison to is Spurs rookie Malachi Branham, Big Ten freshman of the year. 3-level scorer, went to St. Mary's, Vincent St. Mary's, same high school that Braun went to, and honestly is, I'm not gonna say just as obviously not just as accoladed, but in terms of his importance, not only to that area and that community, that guy has just been he was pretty much the guy in Ohio and in the state of Ohio, and in terms of him falling to 20th and him being the solidified top 15, top 12 guy in the lottery, we got to steal. Now, it takes years to develop this guy. Obviously, Keldon wasn't this guy for rookie year, second year, third or fourth year is when you start seeing, hey, we can start developing his touch, the speed of the game, all kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh, Chris. I'm just saying. That was his comparison of the draft. So I'll stamp that on him before Keldon Johnson. Give it a go.
All right. Go ahead, Damo.
Here's what I'll say. I watched. I was 9. I want to say when we drafted Tony Parker. I watched and listened. I remember as a kid sitting on my dad's lap, listening to people pick Parker get apart. 6 years later, he was Finals MVP. I remember Manu's first game vividly. I remember Kawhi. I've seen us take players and I've seen little pieces, and I think that we just need to add certain pieces of the game. I want to see Keldon because Devin has one move. It's it's a 2 dribble and then he spins and does a little step back into a pull up. That is kind of his go-to in scoring situations. Keldon just needs to get in the lab and get one move. And if you can give me one move that you can hit one hard bucket on, I think that a lot of times
he has players. He has it.
Lower his shoulder and do the little jump hook shot or little floater shot.
Yeah, he has a shot. He has a shot. That's his shot.
My point is, I think a lot of times we hold every player to the standard of is he an MVP? But that's not how, in my opinion, championships are won or great basketball or how development works. If Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell are a 1-2 combo that can give me what they're giving me and we can put the right things around it, I think they can compete at the highest level. I've seen it.
Well, I think in reality that they would be the perfect fit for a tier 1 player. I think they're both going to be phenomenal. I think I see more of Zach LaVine and Devin Vassell than I think some of the players that have been mentioned with him. And that provides some great excitement and some intrigue, but also some limitations. And I think he can be a little bit better defensively. I agree with Keldon Johnson not being able to create a shot. But I think the Spurs are going to need a player that those two can play off of. And in the meantime, shout out Trey Jones, who I said at the beginning of the season would play himself into being a San Antonio Spur for a long time. And I do not see that changing unless they get the first overall pick. I want to shout out everybody down below. There is about 80 people in here. I want to say thank you for making any part of your day part of our day here on Hoop Spaces. A late start today. Had just some stuff you have to deal with in life. Thank you for coming in. If you look up top, you have the newsletter. It dropped a little bit later today, but that was simply for the fact that there were so many games last night. And I really do try to put an honest effort in recapping all of it. Last night we had we didn't have every game playing, so you know what? It wasn't as difficult as Monday night, but I was able to get most of it done. I do want to say in the newsletter there are 3 people that you should shoot a follow to. The first will be C. Hendo. He's getting ready for a Friday drop tomorrow, interviewing Kevin Durant. Also, our friend Dime Dropper Pod is in there as well, recapping Lakers and Clippers if you want a more detailed recap. And also, Jaden, my bad. Justin Patton down below, breaking down the Celtics and Pistons in his reaction video, which you can also find at the Hoop Spaces YouTube channel. If you can do me the favor, now that it's up there, please like and retweet the Hoop Spaces review card. And if you've signed up, I want to say thank you. But do us the favor, instead of just retweeting it, like quote tweet it and say, hey, check it out. It's free. You know, I like it. I read it, and it's good. You know, that's the bare minimum that we ask, is engagement. Because without engagement, we can't grow to where we want to grow. And in terms of growth, Elon Musk held a a wild space yesterday, talking about what he is envisioning and planning. And I just want to tell everybody, pay no attention to that. Like, it means absolutely zero. The thing that will happen is he will come in, he will be a bull in a china shop, he will break a lot of things intentionally, he will try a lot of things that are going to fail. The things that don't fail, he'll keep. The things that do fail, they'll try to fix. That's all that we need to worry about in terms of content creator, if you're creating content. In regards to anything else, I defer to those who know more. I'm not here to tell you anything about advertising and marketing. I'm not here to tell you anything about verification of important people versus the $8 check mark, which you see that I have. All I'm here to say is, if you look at what Twitter could be versus what Twitter was made for, there's a wide avenue for growth and change, and it's not going to be pretty all the time. And we just kind of have to wait a little bit longer to really get a good sense of where we're going. That's all I'm going to say for this matter. I know Damo probably has a different opinion of mine. I'll let him go ahead and talk about it before we move on to the next game. Damo, go ahead.
I just want to say to the individuals in this space, and I used to be like that. Like, me and Chris met because we were both in the Sparks program. That's how we became as close as we are. Man, like, if y'all bag is attached to Twitter and you want to perform in a short term, God bless you. And if y'all choose to get it off of Twitter and you want Brandon, shoot me a DM. We're doing our rebudget. We're looking at everything. So, got a proposal, send it to me. I'll worry about the change to the right people. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun couple months, man. God bless y'all. If y'all want some brand money, call me.
Yeah, that's definitely true. All right. The Jazz, are they for real? The Kings shot the Nets and shocked the Cavs, sorry, and Ant versus Cat. We'll get into, but I have to hit the music button because I haven't hit it at once. At least I have to hit it at least once. Like, this is what happens in life. It throws you a curveball, and you are in a 1-2 count, and you are thinking down and away slider. A little bit of baseball reference in there because I see a certain person in there on a burner account, and I appreciate you coming through. The Major League Baseball season is in their off season. I'll give you a hint on who it is. If you head over to see Hendo on YouTube, his YouTube channel, Chris Henderson's YouTube channel, you'll see the baseball player I'm referring to on his interview list because he interviewed him. And coming up tomorrow, you can actually see Hendo's interview with Kevin Durant on his YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. That is also embedded in the newsletter. So if you open it up there, you'll get the link there. Make sure you shoot him a follow. We are here brought to you by slamgoods.com. If you go to slamgoods.com, you can use Hoop Spaces as the promo code, save 15% off your entire purchase. I was on the dime with Josh Rodriguez, and he did video, and you can see in that video, and I'll put this up here, what I'm talking about. The Rewind series, the Kobe Bryant series. It's not framed yet. It's still in plastic. I'll get it framed. But that was $30. And if you use Hoop Spaces as the promo code, you can save 15% on that and your entire purchase league-wide. All right, there you go. That's my read. I'll give myself a 6.5 out of 10. I got out the gate real slow and choppy. I understood that because I'm trying to do 5 things at once. All right. Appreciate everybody coming through. Dominic, my brother, is up here in service and arms. I want to wish him and every other veteran a early happy Veterans Day. It is a day for my household, not just of celebrating our service, because everybody, all males in my family have served, but also of remembrance of not just who we have and who served, and not just who we've lost, but we also do it for the family members that we know personally that sacrificed to make that life real. And a lot of people don't really hear any stories about the family that has to move every year, or the wife that has to raise 3 to 5 kids on their own while their father is deployed, or now what's happening also more readily, men are staying home with their children as women are deployed. It is a very difficult life. It is a hard life. And if you are the spouse of one of our service members, I want to say thank you. Like, we recognize you. It's not easy, but this day should be meant for you as well, because without you there, we wouldn't be as effective as we needed to be. Dom, I know you agree with me on that. I appreciate you and your service. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. What a great promo. You know what, Chris? I had gotten to the point during my time of service that when somebody would say thank you for your service, I would thank them, because a lot of civilians that are non-veterans don't understand that, like I used to say, Chris, we used to have a saying, you either stand by us or stand in front of us. Some of us would prefer you to stand in front of us, but there's a lot of cases we can't do it without the civilian population, whether it's the cookies, the cards, whatever it is. So every time I would hear thank you for your service, I would say thank you, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do some of the things we did, the support. Minus the family members. Of course, Chris, I retired, so my wife had to put up with this for 20-something years, and I had a very shady job, so I wasn't home a lot. But that being said, I like to thank everybody. And remember, people, Happy Veterans Day is allowed. Happy Memorial Day is a no-go, because there's nothing happy about Memorial Day. So if you know a vet, you don't always got to say thank you for your service. Give them a dap, give them a hug, say something. And remember, we can't do it without you. And for all the veterans out there that want to go get the free food tomorrow, enjoy it. It's your day. It's our day. And as always, Chris, I like to thank every veteran, me, you, everybody that put that uniform on. God bless you. Keep up the good work. And let's not forget that there are some veterans out there that need help. We can't keep overlooking that. So if you have a cause, if you want to speak up, let's speak up on veterans benefits, veterans behalves. They need the help more than most of y'all would ever imagine. And the wait periods and all of that, I won't get into. But they need your support. So if you can support them in any way you can, feel free. But Chris, I'd like to say one thing other than the veterans thing. I can't get on here today and talk about my Knicks unless I was going to give an obituary column. But I did like your caveat up top, Jazz for real. I don't know if they're for real, Chris. But I can say this, they're fun to watch. They're a very fun team. And for some Knick fans who think everything's a conspiracy theory, why we didn't get Donovan Mitchell, Utah got marketing. Let's keep that in perspective. Shooters could shoot. Thank God he's one of them. And, I think the Jazz made out very well. So as always, Chris, I thank you for your service, for your time. Keep up the good work, brother. And any Marine out there, today is your 247th birthday. Semper Fi. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Chris. Love you, kid.
Love you too, Dom. Appreciate you and thank you. And to that effect, I remember we were the biggest shock gift, and I don't mean shock as in like, oh my God, I got that. The biggest gift I ever received downrange that actually brought me back to some level of civility. I'm not gonna lie here, y'all. Was the $1 dollar store Old Spice body wash. Like, I had gone like literally weeks without a resupply. And to be able to use a bag of hot water that had been sitting in the sun, so you don't get the same water pressure. It's just like a hose with drips. To be able to clean myself, that was definitely a shocking moment of how far away from home I really was, because it was something that we all take for granted for. And like just that little bit of a donation to the USO goes such a long way. So it doesn't take much. Like that's all we ask. Think about it. If you can make a difference, we are appreciative. All right. Yeah, and you're right about the Knicks. It's an obituary. You missed a little bit earlier. And I would just say good days are ahead because it looks like Mr. Dolan is closer and closer to making a return, making us, the general NBA fan, absolutely happy with the entertainment to the misery of the Knicks fan base. So I appreciate your long service in terms of Knicks fandom, which looks like it's appearing to face another 20 years of mediocrity. Rough out there in these streets, man. Shout out to the Raptors and the Raptors fans. They win again, 116-109 over the Houston Rockets. Fred VanVleet is a lethal shooter. He had 12 points in the fourth quarter to close out the game. My issue is they shouldn't have been in that position anyway because they were playing the Houston Rockets. However, I do believe if Pascal Siakam was playing, this is probably a 15-point victory. If you do want to hop up here and talk Raptors or Rockets, you can. I see EK is in the building. Shout out to EK. Free Jabari Smith is still there, 15-10 last night. Iman Adan is in the building. I urge you to check out the Dishes and Dimes podcast. It's the best podcast led by all women talking all hoops. And you can also read her words over at Yahoo Sports Canada. You can also catch her on TV there on video. She's really good at what she does. So tune in there. Pelicans win 115-111 over the Chicago Bulls. And I do believe we have found the problem in Chicago. And that is the fact that they are named the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine, 23 points. DeMar DeRozan, 33 points. And Nikola Vucevic, 18. But Brandon Ingram decided to turn the light switch on in the fourth. Completely dominated DeMar DeRozan. Made him look bad. It was real bad at times in that fourth, including 7 consecutive points by Brandon Ingram. And then DeMar was going to close out the game with a last-second shot and then committed the game-losing turnover. And he was pretty blunt. He said the loss was on me, and I respect that. But what I think we found out is DeMar DeRozan, even with Zach LaVine there and his talent, is pretty much by himself. And I find that very distressing for DeMar because I don't think he can succeed in that role in Chicago. Joel, your hand is up. What you got, my friend?
Yeah, so you said about the Raptors, right? Like, as you might know, I'm also following the Raptors quite closely. I'm planning to move to Toronto next year. So that's also one of the reasons why, I'm following the Raptors quite closely. We were talking also about SGA earlier, even though it would be a total Knicks move, to go after SGA because it's not going to help them. He's a total Raptors kind of player, right? And it was, of course, discussed, and there was a potential of SGA going to Toronto. I think it would be a nightmare for a lot of teams in the East if that actually would have happened, because he is definitely someone who, can take some of the slack of Fred VanVleet, who's also been a touch injury prone in the past and is quite short, of course, let's be honest. But Toronto, how they're playing now without Siakam, they're going to be a problem. And as I'm in that spaces a lot, I can tell that nobody believes in the Raptors, but I'm going to keep repeating myself. They're going to have home court advantage, and they're a good team, so people should take them more seriously. There's not a lot of Toronto love on NBA Twitter, but people should really start taking them seriously.
Oh, I think there is some. I just think that they're in their own little pocket. And when they tend to come out in Knicks, you tend to get some entertaining spaces here on Twitter Spaces. I think they are a legitimate team to be worried. I think they can beat any team. Although to move them into what I would say is a direct contender status for me, they're one player away. We've talked about this before, and I kind of agree here with Damon. Like, that's what the build is. Usai Majiri has them in line to make a Kawhi-type trade if one comes available that will put them over the top. But even if they don't make that trade, like, they are a team, if everything clicks, can still get there. And I think that really highlights the strength of Toronto is that type of progressive forward planning that has now created multiple avenues of competition. So, shout out to Isai. Like, that's just why you win, executive of the year. If Toronto gets a top 4 seed in the league, I mean, I think he's basically a shoe-in minus maybe James Jones if he wins. Like, it's phenomenal.
I'm a big fan of Masai Ujiri, and listen, like he's great. I mean, he after the thing that happened with him in Golden State, it was ridiculous. Don't know if you remember that. I don't feel that he often gets enough love in that sense, Ujiri, but he is really, I think he's borderline a genius, right? Like, really, if you look closely at what he's done in Toronto, he's absolutely great.
I won't necessarily call him a genius. I think he has exactly what Jerry West has. I think he has exactly what I would say. You know what? That's actually pretty much it. I would probably put him, Pat Riley.
That's what I said last time. Yeah, Pat Riley.
And what it is a keen understanding of who he is and what his leadership philosophy is, which then allows that stabilization factor. And he's an ultimate force multiplier. He makes your coach that much better because he's already done so much planning and groundwork that it makes the coach able to focus more on coaching. He's phenomenal in terms of balancing advanced statistics versus actual hands and eyes on scouting as well. The fact their vice president, our number 2 in charge of analytics, Dr. Catherine Evans, was picked up by Washington, and I think she's going to do phenomenal in terms of revamping Washington's entire drafting and scouting process. By the way, first woman hired in that position too. So give her a shout out, Dr. Catherine Evans. And yet he still doesn't miss a beat. Still gets the guy in the second round, Christian Koloko. Still picks up, Banton from a couple years drafts ago, puts him in the 905, comes up and he's a contributor. And then you look at the roster and you're like, you know what? Everybody that walks in right now to that locker room, you can put down for some type of contribution, except for maybe one. And that's unfortunate, and that's Malachi. Hey, y'all can yell at me, but I just don't see it. Like, I don't see it. If you see something that I don't, let me know.
No, I don't see it either. Like, he had a couple of good games against the Nets, which is annoying, but other than that, I don't see it.
You know what? And somebody asked me, and I told him that he reminded me of Shane Larkin. There you go. All right, the Jazz, 125, now 10-3, tops in the Western Conference, beat the mighty, vaunted, championship-bound, best backcourt in history, Atlanta Hawks, by some of those here on NBA Twitter. I tell you what, I have been saying this. I had said this last year. People have laughed at me. I say it on podcasts. People get crazy. DeJounte Murray is just a better basketball player than Trae Young, and I think the loss last night shows it. Now, is Trae Young probably the better offensive player overall? Absolutely, but hey, basketball's more than just shooting buckets. Like, yeah, I get it. You need to score more than the other team, but if you can't stop them from scoring and they can make your scoring less efficient, they tend to win. And that's what happened last night. Phenomenal second half defense by Utah. And by second half, I mean at league average. They actually held them down below 30 points in the fourth quarter. And they exploded for 40 in the fourth quarter. And what's really funny is this guy that everybody had written off their NBA Survivor Island named Lauri Markkanen is the star. Another phenomenal performance, 32 points, 6 for 8 from deep. And he's finally done it. He's figured out how to overcome his allergy to rebounding. He's got 8, he gets 7, he gets 10. And he is this driving force of Will Hardy's gun it offense. Another 39 plus 3-point attempts. They lead the league in 3-point attempts per game. 43% made from three. And it's just unreal that they're continuing to get open shot after open shot, specifically in the second and fourth quarter in this game, to the point where you could literally see the Atlanta defense break in the fourth quarter. And I am now starting to say the shooting might not stay here. There should still be a regression to the mean, but that mean keeps creeping up and up and up. And the Utah Jazz might just be staying here against what every pundit, prognosticator, and opinionist such as myself had said. I thought they were 100% into the tanking mode. I really did. I thought they said, hey, we're going to set ourselves up to gain, a bevy of future draft capital by having marketable veterans. And what is a marketable veteran? Well, in this instance, it's any veteran contract that's productive that makes under $20 million. So like Mike Conley's their worst contract at $22 million. So he just barely exceeds that, but he can be attached to a rookie deal like Azubuike, and then like you can pull in another player. So like it's a kind of like a hedge there. But like they have Kelly Olynyk, he's under 20, he can go. Rudy Gay is 6, he can go. Jordan Clarkson at 13, he could go. Taylor Horton Tucker at 9, he can go. Beasley at 14, he could go. And a lot of these teams who are competing are going to say, you know what, it's only going to be a 18th pick anyway. So let's go ahead and get the vet who can help us compete now. And we lose off on a mid-first round draft pick. And that's exactly what Sam Presti did. And that's what I thought the plan was. And I even think Danny Ainge, like that's still the plan, but this team wins despite it. So if you got anything about the Utah Jazz, we can. If you want to come up and disagree with me about the Trae Young and DeJounte Murray comparison, you are more than welcome to come up here and lose, because you will. Like, you will. DeJounte plays in transition better. He defends better. He rebounds better. And like, what do you want? He finishes at the rim more consistently and efficiently. The only thing we have is range. Trae has range, and he shoots more. Like, what am I missing here? Joel, go ahead. The floor is yours.
So I do think, Markkanen, let me first say, nobody expected Utah to be this good. Like, literally, no one. I didn't either. But one thing I did see with Markkanen in Eurobasket is, you mentioned him as well, of course, and it's, all the big European players who play in the NBA, like Luka, like Jokic, all have said, that it's more difficult to score in FIBA basketball than it is in the NBA, right? And when I saw what Lauri Markkanen was doing at Eurobasket, I was like, this might translate, all right? It's like, because, a lot of NBA players, Giannis as well, struggled offensively during Eurobasket, but Markkanen didn't. I mean, Giannis still put up big numbers, don't get me wrong, right? But it wasn't as easy as it was for him, as it is sometimes for him in the NBA. So in that sense, I am surprised by Markkanen, but I did wonder, does it translate to the NBA? Because, it's so difficult scoring in FIBA, and it does. And I have no idea where they go. I do get a feeling that they're going to be a little bit like Chicago, right? They have a great first half of the season and will fizzle out in the second half of the season. But who knows? I have no idea and where they're going with this. But no one expected this, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it too, and I didn't think it was going to translate. But that was the main reason why I didn't think it was going to translate. Was I didn't think the Jazz would be crazy enough to start him next to Vanderbilt or Olynyk. I thought maybe he would get next to Olynyk and he would be first off, he'd be off the bench or into the bench super early. But Vanderbilt, who doesn't shoot, but does everything else, kind of takes that pressure away. And Markkanen has been able to basically be an offensive first rebounding second player, because he's not guarding anybody out there. Like, they usually put him on the worst big of the bunch, and make Olnick and Vanderbilt guard the better wing and the better big, and it's worked perfectly. My question is, in terms of sustainability, they don't really have a backup point guard. Colin Sexton, he can't get going. He's inaccurate shooting. He's up and down. And Beasley and Clarkson, they kind of play the same position. And then THC is just there. So, like, you see that they have no sense of an actual build. I'm lost. Like, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. What do you think?
It's crazy, but it's the way you just explained it, it sort of doesn't make sense, really, what they're doing right now. But at the other hand, like, I have no idea if they have staying power, because to me, it doesn't make sense. What I see on paper and what I see them actually do, and the way it translates to results, it doesn't make that much sense to me. So I find it very difficult to predict where they'll go with this. No clue.
All right, and one thing that is also proving clear once again in this Atlanta loss, and it's been proven in almost every game except for one, they need Bogdanovic to come back healthy. If he does not come back healthy, this team will not get past the second round because they'll be relying on shooting from a rookie who's just not going to be consistent in AJ Griffin. Justin Holiday's never been anything about, I think, a career 41% shooter from the floor. Maybe he hits 40% from threes again, but that's questionable. And then his little brother Aaron, he's a backup point guard who, maybe on an off night gives you something. But the starting unit's been fine. It's been this bench unit. So we'll look forward for Bogdanovic to come back, and if not, we're probably looking at a trade.
Bogdanovic is going to be huge for them. Yeah, for sure.
I want to get Mike in here, who's joined us. Your hands up, Mike. Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, good morning, Chris. How you doing?
I am well, thank you.
Right, man. Lauri Markkanen out there killing it. Big shout out to SJ real quick, because there's a bunch of people on the timeline that's like, "Oh, y'all remember when we decided we was too good for Lauri Markkanen?" Come to find out that we actually attempted to make a trade for him. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me put this out for all the Donnie Nelson Jr.'s running around on my timeline. These are the implications of trading for max players using draft capital to do so when they are broken. So just stop trying to repeat the cycle. That's my take. Thank you.
All right. And we can go ahead and talk about this now, ladies and gentlemen. 94-87, the Orlando Magic over the Dallas Basketball Mavericks. Luka Doncic's 30-point game streak is a bust. No more. And you know, what did I say? What did I say in 77 Spaces? That this was a trap game that not only the Mavs could lose, but because of the length, that 30-game point streak might have snapped, and that's what happened. 24 points, 9 for 29. Luka Doncic doing his best Trae Young impersonation. Spencer Dinwiddie leading the Mavs in scoring with 29, 9 for 19. But the story was Chuma Okeke, who got the start in place of the injured Paolo Banchero. Now, you might remember him. He came out and he torched the Warriors for like a perfect quarter, but he played some phenomenal defense this game against both, at times, Luka Doncic, but more importantly, Tim Hardaway Jr., who just couldn't do anything when he was on. Tim Hardaway, 2 for 10, 1 for 7 from deep. Franz Wagner, who I said in yesterday's 77 Spaces, shout out to Rolo, who's been able to join us as an audience member, hosting it solo, was going to try to exploit the mismatches that he was going to have. And lo and behold, 22 points, 9 for 17, 6 assists, as he was the driving force of the Orlando offense. And then let's shout out Bol Bol. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Bol Bol Express is here for you. And if you want to purchase a ticket on the Bol Bol Express, I mean, by all means, hit me up. Reach out. I'm here to allow you to come on to the Bol Bol Express, but once it's over, it's over. You ain't gonna come on, all right? Like I'm just letting you know. You better hop on like the next week or so. Luka he couldn't get it going. And what's really funny is I was watching a Kristaps Porzingis interview, and he was praising Luka, because he kind of plays at his own speed, and you're like thinking, oh, he can't do it, and then you look up, and all of a sudden he's like, wow. There was something off yesterday. It looks like he couldn't effectively attack the length. Do you worry that Orlando showed a blueprint on how they might want to actually guard Luka going forward? Dom, if you're ready, go ahead. All right, he might not know. Micah, you any thoughts?
Oh, Chris, I just couldn't come back. Oh, man, real quick, my thoughts are, well, KD himself pointed it out. Like, there ain't nobody on the roster outside of Luka and Spence that can dribble. Like, they're just, like, I see so many times all these spotted guys that we got, they call for the ball, but if they're not wide open, they'll hold it for a second and then drop a time ball to somebody else. So I see a lot of that. It's just that's the issue with the roster. It's redundant. We got 5 people that do pretty much the exact same thing. So, like I said, that's the implications of trading for match players that are broken and using draft capital to do so.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of picking out a player that I don't think meshes well with my top player. That's what I didn't understand about the trade is I'm fine with Kristaps as a player. I just never thought that he was the player to put next to Luka. And did that hinder his development? Absolutely not. But now you're dealing with the fallout of the trade because you could only trade him to Washington, and then you got stuck with Washington contracts, and you were only able to get what we would consider mid-tier veterans on free agency, which is why you bring in Reggie Bullock at 10. Tim stays at 7. You bring in McGee at 5. Kleber signs for cheap. Dwight signs for cheap, and then like your floor is so low that you have to play perfect. But if you play perfect, your ceiling's so high because you have a transcendent child. It's a hell of a way to be a fan. I do empathize, man. I do. All right, we've got a couple more games to talk about. We saved them here. I see Hoop Spaces Ryan is in the building. Hopefully he can come up because I would love to hear his take on the funeral that is the Los Angeles Lakers regular season as they fall to the Los Angeles Clippers 114-101. And if anybody else wants to now come up to also talk some Lakers and add into the eulogy, be my guest. Raise your hand and come on up. We got JFK getting ready to come up. Joel, the Dutch Nets fan, is up here. Micah and Damo as well. I want to give a shout out down below to some people who actually support us by coming in every day. Warren, I see you. Sky, that's Sky Davis, right? He's here. The Daily Sabonis, shout out to you. We'll be getting to the Kings after the Lakers. Nightingale, Danny D, Santa Rosa, Eddie, Logan the Foot, Mackenzie, Zach. Appreciate all the love and support you give us by showing up. Like it means a lot. All right, so up next, Lakers and Clippers, 114-101. LeBron James led all scorers with 30, and then unfortunately, he appeared to come up slightly limping late into the fourth quarter, and finding out he now has a leg injury, waiting for further confirmation on what the injury actually is. 30 points, 8 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, including a perfect first quarter, which saw the Lakers trail by 17. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because the Clippers are here for you, and the Clippers sure as hell clipped in that second quarter, going into halftime up only 2, 54-52. And then it was all right because the Lakers were the Lakers, and in the third quarter, they were not able to play defense, and the Clippers sailed out to an insurmountable lead, thus finishing 114-101. Anthony Davis, 21 points. Westbrook, 14 points, 9 assists off the bench. Troy Brown Jr., I'm going to give myself a point, here to try to save the Lakers season, came up short. He was 6 for 10 from the floor and 14 points. Pat Bev returning, and I had gotten in this wonderful conversation about Pat Bev to give you 7 points on 2 of 8 shooting. It's a bad team. It's bad. There's nothing I can do about it, and there's nothing you can do about it, but we can smile and laugh together. Evan has popped up here. We will go to JFK first, though. JF, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Chris.
I didn't realize you changed your name, Evan, to JF, but that works for me. How you doing?
Can you hear me now?
Sorry about my bad, Chris. I had a phone call.
I love it when a plan comes together. All right. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Evan, go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. JF, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10.
3.
JF wins. The number was 4. JF, you go first.
Yeah, you gotta go with the 3. You know, Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade connection there, Chris. I got you. Don't worry. But yeah, first things first. NBA 2K Dreamville Edition is coming out tomorrow. If you don't have 2K yet, go ahead and get that copy. Support J. Cole, fabulous rapper, fabulous game, fabulous cover. It's probably gonna be worth something later on. It's an exclusive cover. It only took about a month and a half after the game came out for it to drop. So if you're into that stuff, collectibles and stuff like that, go get that Dreamville Edition. Moving on to the NBA, Chris. It's kind of hard talking about a team that's not good when your team's not good at it as well. Like, I can't even slander teams like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still worried about my shit. So I will say LeBron is LeBron. He's going to get off whatever he gets off. Hey, and if you're not happy with that team like Jimmy Butler was, we always got a team for bad guys. You know what I'm saying? I saw him in that movie. He played the bad guy. He can come down to Miami and be the bad guy. We'll definitely take him in. He can even play the 4 if he wants, 3. I don't care. I like Ant coming to Miami. And that's the only player I think I would trade my rookie for is definitely Ant. But other than that, Chris, we played Charlotte Hornets tonight. This might be a little look at see if Terry Rozier needs to get some PT somewhere else with Kelly Oubre. But yeah, just a lot of things to look at right now, Chris.
All right, and I'm a big proponent of Scary Terry. I'm on the free Scary train. I want him in Philly so bad. Bad.
He needs to come down here to Miami, Chris. He already tried the Northeastern, and it doesn't work out over there. You know what I'm saying? He needs to come down over here to the South, where the weather is nice. You know what I'm saying? No state taxes. You know, nice little spot. So,
bro, you just got hit by a hurricane. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's no hurricanes in Philadelphia. Like, you ain't gotta worry about that.
Nah, but you got dirty streets and rats. I'm straight. Hurricanes blow everything away. Plus, there was no hurricane, Chris. Sometimes it's just rain. That's it. And
Philly ain't New York. New York got the rat problems, from what I understand. But we also don't have to worry about these dive bombing pigeons. Taking aim.
Shouts out to pigeons. I saw that Mike Tyson show. It's pretty funny.
Evan, thank you for your patience. You're up. How are you and your thoughts? We'll be getting Hoop Spaces Ryan getting ready to come up, but I want to hear what your thoughts are on this wonderful, Thursday morning in Lakerland.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. Yeah, sorry about the mix-up there at the beginning. Was, getting in and out of my car and lost the speaker for a second. So, but anyway, I've been, wondering what the hell is going on with the Lakers. I've been, searching for answers, and I think I finally figured it out. I think what happened is Danny Ainge broke into freaking Staples Center, and he finally did it. He finally stole the fucking Lakers mojo. He's been trying to for years. That the only motherfucker that I hate in the NBA is Danny Ainge, and he's got 10 wins and we got 9 losses. This is like, that's all I can think of, man. Like, I've run out of ideas, man. It's a curse. Like, he stole our mojo. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, man.
All right, appreciate it. Hoop Spaces Ryan is here. Ryan, good morning. You are also a Lakers fan. You have been fairly objective, and this is a hard season, and you've already admitted that. Your thoughts, more specifically, what can we see if LeBron James is out, because like it's looking grim.
All right, good morning. It's a hard season. I'm not going to lie. I'd actually like to steer the conversation a certain direction because, yeah, we kind of know what's going on with the season. It's been beaten to death. The rest of the league, this show, your show, Chris, tends to be a lot of non-Laker fans, a lot of East Coast fans because of the time of the day it airs. And there's a lot of schadenfreude going on. People love to see the Lakers fail. I get it. Richard Jefferson said something the other day. He said he hasn't spoken to LeBron specifically about it, but he's pretty sure that LeBron regrets signing the extension. And that really got me thinking. And I'm curious your thoughts and everybody else's thoughts. LeBron, he's a smart player. He knows basketball very, very well. There's no way that he's going to publicly say it, but privately he knows that he's not on a winner. I mean, he did publicly say he doesn't have a bunch of three-point shooters shooting lasers out there. So he knows that this is not a winning team. LeBron James is not known for playing on losing teams. I mean, it's happened once or twice, but this is clearly one of the worst teams he's played on. How do you think LeBron feels about ending his career this way? Do we think that he's comfortable riding off into the twilight, just getting that scoring title and losing, and being comfortable in LA, living with his family, watching his kids grow up? Or do you think this is honestly killing him and there is a chance that he's going to do something? I know my feelings about it, but I'm curious what others are going to say, because I've written this season off already. I don't think there's any trade or anything that can save it, but I'm starting to wonder if there's going to be something deeper and how LeBron's feeling about it. So, Chris, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm putting that out there as a poll question. Great question. And I will tell you this. I believe he will regret it by the end of the season. And I say that because what I've heard really kind of puts Rob Pelinka more in a bad light in terms of maybe not being on the up and up with what the plan was, which I've stated multiple times now. I am convinced Rob Pelinka got that extension by convincing Jeannie Buss that you could walk in with a clear cap sheet and sign free agents or trade for people who wanting to be traded while keeping LeBron and Anthony Davis. And I think he even talked to LeBron directly and even his people, but he didn't really allude to how difficult this season would be. So LeBron made the decision without really knowing how bad it could be. And then now you're in 3 weeks to the season, and it is apparent that you are having to rely on Matt Ryan as your best three-point shooter, to the point where people argue that Pat Beverly is a floor spacer because he can hit 38% or 40%, but he's not a floor spacer. He's not asked to be a volume shooter. He's asked to be a defensive anchor as well as a ball mover. And then occasionally, because he's wide open in the sense of his offense, he can then be effective as a fourth or fifth option. And so, like, when you look at what happened with Russ last year and then firing Frank Vogel, and then you look at Russ's now success off the bench, like LeBron, I don't think ever had an issue with Russ. And I don't think LeBron had an issue with AD. I think LeBron has an issue with the front office. And I wouldn't even, like, by the end of the season, I could see him wanting out. Because I don't think he wants to just sail into the sunset with the scoring record.
Did you watch Legacy, the documentary?
I watched part of it. Like, it was on in the background, but I don't necessarily get into sports documentaries as much as I do like military documentaries. It's really weird.
The reason I ask is there was and I know other people want to speak, so I'll be brief, but there's a part of it where Jeannie specifically talks about one of her philosophies and how changing front office management positions so often has bothered her a ton, and how keeping people in positions is an important part of the future going forward. And that was in one of the last episodes, so one of the most recent chronologically episodes. So in terms of why Rob Pelinka got his extension, I have to think that purely from Jeannie's keeping the same people and stopping this revolving door of coaches and stopping this revolving door of front office and just having some consistency, I think that has something to do with it. Now, was it the right, decision? I'm not making any comment there. I think we all know, a little bit there, but I have to believe that Jeannie just wanted to solidify some consistency there, and that had something to do with it in addition. So let's get some other voices in here.
We will. I think that's a cop out, but I'll go after everybody else. We'll go to JFK first. We'll go to Evan second. Evan, do me a favor. We're recording this to use potentially later, and we'll also post on YouTube. Try to keep the F-bombs a little bit more reserved. JF, go ahead. You're up.
Yeah, so I think at this point in time, we need to go ahead and apologize to Magic Johnson. I think what he had in plan and what he had in mind was a lot better than Rob Pelinka. I think it's tough because Rob Pelinka goes from focusing on like probably one player on one team at a time to focusing on a whole team and how to go ahead and be successful about it. It wasn't a good transition. I think Magic Johnson was a better transition. He was able to get AD and keep majority of the stuff and put together a team that actually did something and contended. But moving forward, I think it's going to be tough for Jeannie to get rid of Rob Pelinka. And this is what I think it comes down to: if she's going to be siding with LeBron or Rob at this sense. And when it comes down to it, you're going to probably see either AD or Russ go, maybe even both, and just clean house and start new, giving LeBron a better chance. But I have a trade proposition. I got Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry. I'll give you 2 first-rounders, Caleb Martin, and I'll throw in Tyler Hero. Give me LeBron and Westbrook.
I don't think the salary matched, but I mean, that's disgusting. Evan, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. And sorry about the F-bomb earlier. I just, Danny Ainge has just been getting under my skin for so long, and I'll be better. So anyway, the other issue, that makes it difficult with Jeannie and Rob is, it's all about Kobe, and it's the fact that Kobe used to be Rob's best friend. And so I think, like all us Laker fans, we're still mourning. I'm sure Jeannie's still mourning all this stuff. And I think that plays a part in why he got the extension. You're definitely right. It was about the cap sheet as well. But I think that, Jeannie is a very sentimental kind of person. And, I think that's part of what's holding on to it. And you can see it in us Laker fans, whenever we lose like this, you'll see it on the timeline. Kobe's name will come up all over the place because we're still mourning. And so, that's a difficult thing. I don't know how we can bridge that, but there's also I feel like there's a psychological problem with this team right now. They play good in spurts, but they are so in their head. Last year, it felt like Russ was in his head. We could all see it. But this year, AD's in his head. I've seen LeBron in his own head. They're just a head case right now. And I don't know how we fix that, because a move isn't going to fix that. There's a culture problem going on with them right now. That's the way I see it.
All right. Ryan, I think anytime somebody who is a leader of an organization requires an answer, but only has an answer to give that either A, is incomplete, or B, not an answer that the people asking want, will revert to a unsaleable position. And that unsaleable position is we needed stability. We needed to show that nothing is wrong in the front office, that everything is functioning fine, so that we're not viewed on the outside as an unserious organization. And I think if we go back to when there was kind of a power struggle between her and her brother, and pretty much all of the NBA world sided with her, I think we now see like maybe there was a different way. And like my question to you is, what would you think the Lakers would be if it wasn't Jeanie in charge?
Oh man, like after dealing with years of the boys, like I would worry that it would be a lot worse, honestly. You know, like I think Jeanie's done a pretty good job with, since taking over, because when Jim and Mitch were in charge, man, I'm not so sure.
Appreciate it, Evan. Ryan, hop in here.
All right, I don't have any faith in Jim. I don't think Mitch was so bad. I think Jim was the problem out of the two of them. I mean, they made some obviously terrible, Mozgov and Deng contract mistakes, and everybody knows about that, and that's obvious. I just don't think that was where it should be. I understand the optimism some people have over Magic. The grass is always greener. I'm not sure Magic had the savvy to make high-level GM plays. I'm not sure the Lakers have had a really high-level GM functioning in the organization since Jerry West. I think that was the last time we actually had someone who really knew what they were doing and really was guiding the organization in a high level in the front office. Mitch was the next best thing in my mind. And he was unfortunately steered the wrong way when he was listening to Jim. That's just, conjecture on my part. I do have another topic to bring up, but I want everybody to be able to weigh in on this who wants to weigh in on it before I go there.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right. With LeBron right now, he's, in my mind, Father Time is catching up. The injuries keep happening. He's not recovering. But at the same time, the stats are there. And so there's a couple schools of thought here. Is Father Time catching up? Or because the stats are there, some people are saying, no, Father Time's not really catching up. He's staving it off still. And the argument could be the team construction is preventing him from getting to the rim because they can't space the floor. So, opposing teams can just build a damn wall and him and AD can't penetrate because there's no one to kick out to. And so that's what's causing it to look a little nasty. If you watch the games, you can see that LeBron is not able to do what he used to do. He's nowhere near as efficient as he used to be. He's putting up stats, but the efficiency just isn't there. Sometimes you can, he'll have a game or two or something like that. Now, I'm not talking about the injury from last night. So I'm curious, some thoughts on, has Father Time made another step this year? Because it's never going to catch him. It's just going to slowly creep in. But to me, it looks like Father Time made another step this year. But some people are going to argue back and just say that's, again, roster construction. I'd like some thoughts on that.
All right, we'll go to Joel. You want to add your thoughts in here to Ryan's question?
Sorry, I didn't catch the question.
Okay. Well, it was a longer question. Let's get JF. His hand is up, and then we'll come back to you after we can reset the question. I know Aaron Maxey probably heard it and wants to say something that'll be hilarious. We've got Evan up here, who's a Lakers fan, who'll chime in. Go ahead, JF. Your thoughts to Ryan's question.
Man, Ryan, it's a tough question to answer just because, like, if you look on another spectrum, Tom Brady's still playing in the NFL, and that's a lot more physical sport than basketball. And I think even still with basketball, there's still going to be some wear and tear that is undenounced, I guess, just through playing. But here's my question. Do you think LeBron going to the Lakers is a reason for him and Father Time to catch up to him? Do you think if he would have stayed on Cleveland, or maybe if he stayed on Miami a little bit longer and then went to Cleveland, his body wouldn't be such in bad shape? And do you think like he would have had a better team? I think moving to another team, it hurts because you're giving up a lot of good pieces. And I think if you do wait it out with a superstar like that, you might be able to rebuild back those pieces. Kind of what you saw in Miami, and then even with Cleveland, like the pieces were there. So all LeBron had to do was just, insert himself in there. So the whole thing with Lakers is that you bring LeBron on, and you have to try and build around him. And I think building around him is what makes Father Time catch up to him, because it's not like he's using these seasons to contend like almost every year for a championship. It's basically they're still trying to build. I mean, look how many starting fives he's had in the last couple of years with the Lakers. It's a lot, probably more than even I'll say the Miami Heat and Cleveland put together. So I think it has, but I think if they are able to fix the situation with the roster construction, you'll see a little bit slowdown on him. I don't see him retiring for at least another 3 years.
All right, Evan, hop in here and your thoughts, and then we'll go to Cash.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to talk about. I've personally kind of, as I've been watching him the past few years, like, a couple years ago when people were trying to say that, it used to ruffle my feathers a little bit, and but like as I'm watching it, like, yeah, I mean, he's still scoring at a pretty good clip, still doing pretty good, but like, yeah, it's just those little margins where he's not the same, and that's the way it is, in all pro sports. I feel like it's, these margins are razor thin, and as you start to fade, it's like you're just not as quick enough on a closeout. You're just not, you don't have the same bounce in your step. It's like just, and it's just little fractions. So, I think there's definitely some of that, but yeah, it's like he does need, a lot more help. And like right now, like the body language and the attitudes from everybody, like I said, we get good in spurts, but like it's a mess most of the time. But I think there is something to be said about LeBron and Father Time to catch up a little bit.
All right, Cash, good morning, man. What are your thoughts?
Yo, good morning. Yeah, I think Ryan was close to it. I mean, I agree with Ryan a lot. He's not really putting pressure on the rim, and that was really like the fundamental part of his game. As far as like scoring, the facilitating is always going to be there. But I want to say is that I want to be like a person who say he can't do it. Just because you don't do it, I don't think that it means you can't do it. Like, I think since he got to Los Angeles, that he's been playing towards how the league is changing and starting to shoot the three more, and he's been falling in love with the three, even to the point where he's shooting it further and further. Now he probably shoots from half court if he feels like it at any given point. Yeah, he's just like, I don't know, I think maybe he adjusted, to adapt into the game, but I don't think he should have did that to that extent. Like, develop the shot, but also attack the rim. Every night I see glimpses of him. Like last night, he looked a lot like he was in Miami for a point. Like he was letting the three fly, he was attacking the rim. So might have a lot to do with his team and all of that. But I put this one on LeBron, man. It's all in between his head.
All right, I don't think it's a Father Time issue. I don't even think it's a roster construction issue. I think it's a game issue. He's regressing to the easiest, and he used to not do that, and it's allowing the defense to be more honest in who they need to guard, because they don't feel any longer that they need to send that third person to LeBron. And even now, you'll see the defense, and I thought this was just bad defense, but if you look at enough of them, they're even letting him just go in for dunks sometimes. And then you see them just push the ball straight back. And like before, you used to see LeBron going for these dunks, and you had like a second half set, pause, and the crowd would get up, and like LeBron's running back and the team's running back, and like the other team is looking around like, wow, did you see that? And now they're like, and they're running. And that extra pressure is actually having a cascading effect, and like we don't see it because that's not what we're looking for. But if you look at it this way, if he is, instead of getting an accumulative extra 30 seconds of rest, relaxation, and jubilance, which are all positive emotional responses to a highlight play, you have to stop and interrupt that. You don't get to build that sense of team success because the other team's already attacking you. Because the other team now knows that they can attack the Lakers. And if you run LeBron out, if you run AD out, it makes it easier for them to just wear them down. And I don't think it's a father time issue because he's still putting up the production and the numbers. I think it's they need to say our game needs to slow down, and they have to do a better job of figuring out how to get a two-man game between LeBron and AD where AD can shoot at the high post or the wing three and feel comfortable, but you can get LeBron isolated on a smaller player, and then he has to become Draymond Green-esque and be the point man for the offense. And I don't think he wants to do that because it's not going to be conducive to the Lakers winning any more or less than what he's used to and comfortable with, which is what he's doing. Scoring 30, getting 8, getting 7, and looking good.
Chris, I want to take you back to 10 years ago. Okay, picture Bron, Game 6 against the Celtics with that look on his face. All right? You picturing that? You know the look I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Imagine being the opposing team, a fan of the opposing team, and the feeling you would get in the pit of your stomach knowing that that guy is coming up against your team right now. All right? Now, come back to today. Do you think LeBron is giving anybody on opposing teams that feeling anymore at any point in any game?
Well, at some points, one-on-one, there are still people who aren't wanting to guard him. But like I said, it's no longer the residual awe. It's no longer, wow, it's get the ball out and attack. And like there's the Lakers can't get back and set and be happy and like want to do it again. They end up having to attack. They usually have a bad defensive possession when this happens. And like then they feel as though they run back, and then like the other team who's generally younger, like that's what they want to do. And like I think, and that's why I said the Draymond-esque, if you tell LeBron, like, we don't want you below the free throw line unless you're in the post, and you need to be the point guard, you need to be Jason Kidd, and he needs to accept that role. But I don't think he thinks he can win that way. And so if he can't win that way doing the extra work, he's okay, at least subconsciously, with doing what he's doing, throwing up his hand saying, like, what more do you want me to do? Like, I'm going to post this tweet. It's a compilation of stats from StatMuse, but it's about players 37 and up. Do you know who plays the most minutes per game? LeBron. You know who scores the most? LeBron. He also rebounds the most. Second most in assists behind Chris Paul. Like, the production's there. It's just not the production that I think is best fit for the team.
Yeah, LeBron was always giving you this production. I don't think he put fear in people. I think it was the people around him. You know? It's like when he lose, let's blame everybody around him because the production is there. This has been LeBron his whole career, bro. He put in work. He's only as good as the players around him and how they perform in these situations. That's really the totality of his career.
All right, what do you think, Ryan?
I don't know. There's some merit to what you're saying, but at the same time, I gotta ask, why doesn't LeBron want to play that way? Is it because he knows that he can't?
Well, I don't think it's that he can't. I think it's that it's more work, and he doesn't necessarily think they can.
But if it's more work, is it that he knows his body can't hold up to it? I mean, he's getting tired at the end of games, man. You can tell. The other teams are throwing rookies to defend him, and they're doing well. All you got to do is put someone athletic on him, and they're actually performing well against him. We've got a hand up that has been waiting a while.
Oh, Joel, go ahead. Appreciate the patience. What you got?
Oh, good. I don't think that it necessarily is father time. So I do partially agree with you, Chris, in the sense that I think the Lakers roster is broken, right? Like if you remember when LeBron came to the Lakers, he very quickly said like, okay, it's going to have to be a transition as soon as AD came over, and AD is going to have to be in the driver's seat, right? It's going to be AD's team. He said it in press conferences. AD didn't hold up his end of the bargain, so LeBron realized, okay, I still got to carry the team. He carried the team. They were lucky in the bubble with the month off. That's why AD got to be healthy. They won a championship, fine. But with the roster that they have now, KD is again not holding up his end of the bargain. He has low motor, low energy. His jump shot has disappeared. I mean, I never thought AD was a top 3 player, but I think nobody, even AD stands, don't believe that he's a top 3 or top 5 player at the moment. So I do feel that that maybe consciously or subconsciously, LeBron realizes, that it's going to be a wasted effort. I do believe that he still has another year, because if you look at his production, he obviously still can score the basketball. But sometimes I feel the 3-pointers he takes are lazy. Yesterday, last night's game, he has a drive to the basket where he actually, on a fast break, where he sort of shows a glimpse of the LeBron James of old. But then the next possession, he jacks up, a deep three. Right, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't believe that in 2 seconds from one drive, LeBron is tired. I don't believe that. So I do believe that it's the roster is broken. He realizes he has no shooting, so he can go into God mode or half God mode. Maybe he doesn't have full God mode anymore. But what for? If he goes into half God mode, are they going to be 500 maybe? And then what? All right, like, so I don't think it's fully father time. Yes, he's not as dominant as he could be in the past, but to me, I do think he has another gear, but it's just not worth it at the time.
All right, I agree. We got Nat getting ready to come up. I think she'll be interested in this talk. We'll get her thoughts. If you want to come up now, talk some Lakers real quick. Now's the time, because we're going to get into the Cavs and Kings next. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to enjoy the conversation. I thought it was the best game last night. That was not the Utah Jazz and Atlanta Hawks. And as someone who lived in Sacramento and went to Arco Arena and saw that cluster, you know what? I'm happy for the Kings fan. And I'm happy because they look like they turned a corner. And I'm happy that they get to wake up every day and they get to look into the standings. And you know what they see? They see themselves above the vaunted Los Angeles Lakers.
Hey, Chris, before we go to the next person, I just want to say I don't disagree that the Lakers have a bad roster. I'm not trying to argue that LeBron is declining instead of the Lakers having a bad roster. I believe it's both. I believe the Lakers have a terrible, terrible roster, and LeBron has been on teams with bad rosters before, but in the past, he's been able to overcome a bad roster. Maybe not this bad of a roster, but he's been able to overcome bad roster construction and carry a team. And I just don't think he's capable of carrying a team. Now, I don't think anyone is capable of carrying this team to a championship, but I think a younger LeBron, a more capable LeBron, especially with AD on the team, even this AD, could have at least carried this team to, a 40-something win season, at least making the playoffs. There's no way this team's making the playoffs with this version of LeBron. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is funny. If LeBron wants to do that type of game, the one of the reasons that he might be hesitant is because that type of game doesn't work with AD, because he essentially has to take AD's role, right? And AD doesn't want to be a 5, and AD's also not a 3-point machine. So like that could also play into the hesitancy of wanting to do this. And we already know, like, Anthony Davis can't do it. Like, he just can't. He's not that, like, people say he was a point guard. He was a scoring point guard. Think like Brandon Jennings with less, court awareness when he was in high school. And then he had this massive growth spurt. But, like, he was never going to be, like, that type of guard anyway. Like, he was going to be a slasher. And I think that's what it is. And if this was an instance where AD wasn't, I think we would be seeing LeBron in this Draymond Green superpowered God of War mode. Shout out to all you God of War fans. God bless you. I've never played the game. Every time I saw it, it's just like, but I think that's also part of the problem. What? I can't make a small editorial comment based upon a popular video game that I find, discernibly lacking.
First of all, Chris, that's disrespectful because I'm on my way to go pick it up right now. So I need
Well,
you to take that
let
back.
let me do you a favor and save you $70, bro. The good guy wins and the bad guy loses.
Yo, not too much on the bad guys, bro.
Chris, usually the bad guy's the good guy.
You don't even know.
It doesn't work that way in terms of storytelling. Anyway.
Before you switch over, I don't know if you want Nat to go first.
Well, yeah, I want Nat to go to get in on this as well, but we're gonna go Kings Cavs next.
Bet. Let me get a piece off right after her on the Lakers, please.
All right, Nat. Thank you for popping up. And now the Cortland Christian wants to come up as also a Lakers fan. Like now they're coming up. And I think it's because they didn't hear any funeral music because we already played it. Like, I don't know if you remember, I played the Lakers funeral music like when they was 205. And then I haven't needed to play it since. Nat, good morning. Celtics look great, but you know what's even better is that they could look into the standings and say, because some other team that has multiple championships as well is on the opposite end of the spectrum. How are you feeling about these Lakers?
Well, I think that everybody, during listening has points. And I think it's all true to a degree. It's a piece here, it's a piece here, it's a piece here. I do think age plays a part in it. And I think that LeBron knows that too, because when you ask him what's going on, he's like, I'm 38. What do you expect? Okay. So you know that you can't do what you used to anymore. So I think he's starting to admit that as well. He can't save a team just because he's LeBron anymore. And I think I've said this for the past few years, actually. When people play the Lakers and specifically LeBron, nobody is afraid of him anymore. Maybe younger guys, but other people feel they can go at him and they don't care. They don't care that you have won 4 rings. They don't care how many MVPs that you have. They don't care that you're LeBron James. Arguably, top 2 all time. They don't care about that. They are up next. They know they can run you all through that court, and they don't care anymore. And he doesn't instill that fear that he used to, when damn, we got to play LeBron. Now it was, we about to play LeBron. Now, most notably, if you go back to last year when they played Memphis was laughing at him. And that should have told you right there, like, oh, we are in the era of we don't care that you're LeBron James. So that's when you know that things start to decline. So now you look at the Lakers in the roster construction. It's a blessing and a curse that they did the AD trade because they did win, the chip. But I think a lot of Lakers fans are like, all right, well, it was in the bubble. And the caveat to that is, they weren't healthy, but then he got 30 days of rest. And maybe that's why we were able to win. So now they're thinking about it. But now they see that they don't see a future for themselves that puts them in good light. So I think AD is the problem. And they have to figure out what to do with him specifically and not wait. While he's healthy, while he can play in these games, you have to get him out of there and get some type of value for him and kind of start over and then figure out what you want to do with LeBron. But this Lakers team, we knew last year it wasn't going to be good. And I think a lot of us knew this year it wasn't going to be good. So I think that the key is probably getting rid of AD.
All right, there you go. Go ahead, Cash. We'll get your thoughts, and then we'll finish up with the Cortland and Ryan.
That kind of feeds in, to what I be thinking. Like, I'm watching the game last night, right? And I'm like, what's up with the coaching? Like, balls getting inbounded. Dude's not picking up the inbound. AD's hitting shots back to back. It takes him 5 minutes of him doing cardio just to get the shots, and then he don't get the shot again after that. It's just like I don't see any coaching going on. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, and to AD point, it's like kind of like LeBron. Like, is he wasting his talent over there? Is he wasting his time? it's not worth it, like you were saying. So why would I do all of this? And then as I'm looking at AD, like they got him hostage over there too. They got a free AD, not just for their future, but for his future too. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing no coaching in this and that. And I'm like, why is Darvin Ham getting a pass through this too? Like, another man just lost his whole job for what? For this? That's crazy.
All right, we got the Cortland Christian in here. What's up, DC? How you doing? Your thoughts on Ryan's question in the Lakers?
Can you hear me all right, man?
Yep, we got you.
First off, it's been a minute, man. Appreciate you letting me up. Normally when I come up here, man, I'm not gonna BS you. Especially when it comes to the Lakers. This team is not good, and I'm a Lakers guy. This team is not good. AD is not him, and I think everybody wants him to be that guy, and he doesn't have it. And I have no problem with saying, and I'll continue to say that. They're running LeBron into the ground, kind of like they did last season, playing all these minutes. They did a player similar to that, but I'm not going to bring that up because that player is no longer here with us. But the Lakers did the same thing with a certain player where they just ran him to the ground. He's playing 30 minutes, and this guy's 38 years old, man. I mean, and we're only, 12 games into the season? You think he's going to be able to do this continuously, man? And I just feel like he's actually wasting the last bit of gas that he has with the Lakers. And as a Lakers guy, it's crazy for me to even say that LeBron should find another home. I have no problem with saying that, man. He should. They continuously trying to use Westbrook as the scapegoat. You let him come off the bench. He's moving more freely. The team is just not good, man. And I said this last year. The Lakers and a team around LeBron will only thrive if they have shooters. You got people. I'm gonna finish up real quick. You got people on these spaces, man, that are. I don't want to disrespect any of these guys that's on the Lakers team, but they're praising them, and they're not even performing, and they flip flop every day. Either you're gonna like this team or you're not gonna like this team. But that was it, man. I just wanted to come up here real quick, and I appreciate you letting me up, man.
Yeah, no, always. I'm sorry. I got a DM of a story being released by TMZ Sports regarding Miles Bridges and his ex. Apparently, Miles Bridges' ex attempted to break into his home October 12th, and now video is out there. So it's really weird. Man, like now more people are up here. Like that's dope. I appreciate it. If you look up top, there's 3 tweets up there, but I really just want you to look at the very first one. If you could do us the favor, if you haven't checked it out yet, just go ahead and hit read and sign up. It's free. It's a newsletter. And if you look at it, all you're going to see is the recap of every game, links to news and notes that will get you to where you need to go to follow the league if you're missing out on any of the action, as well as we're getting ready to push out our spotlight on Hoop Spaces creators with the likes of Justin Padden, Dime Dropper, Gifted Blade, C. Hendo, and we're going to be building up some more. So if you actually want an alternative to, say, ESPN, like we are building that here. So come be part of that process, be part of that build, and help us be better for what you want in your basketball coverage. And all it takes is entering an email and hitting subscribe. That's it. A like and a retweet and an email. Like that's like 30 seconds worth of work. I think you'll enjoy it. And I appreciate those who support. We've gotten 149, and to those 149 within 3 weeks, thank you. That's dope. I didn't even think we would have that. We'll go to JFK next. We got Zazu up here. We'll get his thoughts quickly on the Lakers. And because he is a little bit late and coming in off work, I'm going to let him get a shot in for his Raptors. We'll close out Lakers talk with Ryan and his thoughts. JF, 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, just a trade proposal. Lonnie Walker and Westbrook for Lowry and Duncan Robinson.
You wouldn't get Lonnie Walker because of how they signed him, but you definitely probably could get Westbrook and, let's say, Wenyen Gabriel. There you go.
Yep.
But I don't think the Lakers do that now because, as I said, the plan was to go into 2023 with just LeBron and AD. Nat, we'll see you later as you take a phone call. Zazu, my man, congrats. The Raptors win again without Pascal. Fred VanVleet.
No.
32 points, 12 in the fourth, closing it out. Congrats. I'll let you get your shot in here, and then you can make fun of the Lakers. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Like, Raptors out here, Raptors Nation stand up. You know what I mean? Like we out here balling out. But yo, on the reals though, they gotta arrest Scotty, man. They playing my dude Scotty on those bum ankles, man. He's hurt. They keep playing him because we don't want to lose. But hey, we're gonna hold down for a bit. We don't want Scotty to turn like Ben Simmons or AD on them soft ankles. AD he don't know how to play injured, so we don't want Scotty to turn that way. So we're gonna play him. And he playing well too on those bum ankles. But with that being said, though, Lakers, Lakers, bro. Yo, I ain't never seen anything like this. Like, at this point, y'all are losing to make the Pelicans better. And that's freaking sad, bro. Like, that is so, like, LeBron, at this point, y'all need to trade LeBron and AD and retool as fast as possible so that y'all don't give the Pelicans Wembanyama, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Y'all are 2 for 10. A LeBron James led team 2 for 10. I'm crying, bro. And y'all can't put it on Westbrook. First, y'all said Westbrook is a problem in the starting lineup. Y'all move him to the bench. He played well on the bench. And now what's your excuse? What's your excuse? Y'all got no excuse. It's actually pathetic to see how y'all are actually ruining your franchise because y'all decided to go after LeBron James. Y'all won one ring, and that ring was in a bubble. The reason why y'all won that because y'all had rest, and you can't give LeBron and AD rest. When you give them rest, it's a wrap, and they capitalize. Now look at your demise. Y'all got rid of that one team and went old. Why would you guys go old, bro? That thing just blew my mind. Anyone that doesn't even know basketball will tell you that lineup wasn't gonna work. That team wasn't gonna work. Everyone was screaming on the rooftop. That's a bum team. But y'all was saying, "Now we straight. We got it. We got Rondo. We got everybody." Y'all gotta take this L.
Right.
Yeah, but with that being said, though, the Jazz are for reals. They traded and went veterans, like not old veterans, but like veterans who were still kind of in their prime. And then they had Laura Markkanen, a 7-footer who can hit a 3-point shot that can play defense. Once you have a 7-footer who can play defense and can shoot threes, that's a great team already. So I already knew they were gonna be legit. I don't know why people thought they were gonna be bottom feeders. So that's what you get, man. Thanks for giving me the spot there, Chris. And shout out to my boy Air Max. Dude keeps changing the bad guy. I never know what his name is, bro. Dude, bad guy keeps changing his name, bro. That's crazy.
I appreciate you,
Zazu, my boy. What's up?
You can catch Zazu on Raptors Spaces Live or Raptors TV Live.
Raptors Space.
Yeah, it's the post game Raptor Space hosted by Nelly J and Fahim for the win. You can catch a whole variety of people up there who are actually all entertaining and hilarious. All right, I need to close out directly with the Lakers with Ryan so he can keep his schedule if needed. So if you do have something about the Lakers, we'll allow you to get into it, but we're also going to move into Cavs Kings because we only got 15 minutes left of the show. Ryan, go ahead and close us out on the Lakers. I'm making a statement on Twitter now. NBA Twitter will never forgive the Lakers if they hand Victor Wembanyama to the Pelicans.
I believe it. All right, a couple responses to some of the things that were said. Just now, it was brought up yet again that Lakers are blaming Westbrook for everything. Now, number one, Westbrook is putting up 16, 6, and 6 on 43% field goal shooting on decent usage. Yeah, great. That's amazing. Awesome. You could say he's not the problem, but we're paying $47 million for 16, 6, and 6 on 43% field goal shooting. I think we could use $47 million for some better production. That problem. So we can potentially pay for something better. That's where that comes from.
All right.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So paying Russell Westbrook $47 million for 16, 6, and 6 on 43% field goals, not worth it. Now, going to Nat. Nat said we should trade AD. Bill Simmons said we should trade AD. Why are Celtics fans so interested in us trading AD? I'm just noticing a thread there. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting two things together that shouldn't be put together, but seems like Celtics fans that wanted AD really want us to trade AD. Not really into it. Someone mentioned we should trade LeBron.
we can't trade LeBron. He's got a no trade clause. Like we can't do that. Sorry. So my opinion is the Lakers suck. They're terrible. It's going to be bad. But LeBron has a chance to, pass an all-time scoring record. Let's just watch a bad team. Let's watch LeBron pass this record and just let Russell Westbrook leave the team next season and get a bunch of cap space and look forward to that. That's how I got to leave it, unfortunately.
All right. I tell you what, it takes a certain type of fan to be able to buy in to what's going to be a long season. I originally had them at 40-42. And I revised it to like 34, basically last year. They could arguably be the worst team in the league. Like, I watched Orlando again, and they have an energy. And it's not the youthful exuberance. It's a team energy. It's Mosley saying, hey, let's buy in and shock the world. Like, we're better than we are. Like, Houston, like, they lose, but they can put up points. And they're literally, like, Jalen Green turnovers away from being 500. Like, those are the two worst teams in the league. And then you have the Lakers. And what can you say positively about the Lakers? That Lonnie Walker is, like, cool being a smaller version of KCP. That Austin Reeves is like Alex Caruso with a little bit better of a shot and a lot worse defense.
Better hair.
Point. Well, I got to be careful. I'm 40 now. I don't need to be testing it. I ain't trying to go bald too early. But, man. Wenyen Gabriel received starting minutes, and this was a player who did not receive starting minutes in the injury-plagued Portland Trailblazers squad. And, like, I understand why he gets these minutes. Like, you guys are laughing, but, like, it's because he plays with something that the other players tend to not play with if your name isn't Patrick Beverley or Russell Westbrook. And, Ryan, I think you know where I'm going with this. It's consistent energy.
You ain't lying.
Like, even Austin Reeves is caught with his hands on his hips thinking about where he's getting the next frozen custard from. Every player but the three I mentioned are like looking at DoorDash at halftime is what it seems like, because they come out in that third quarter and, like, the only thing I can see them talking about is what they got for lunch, because, like, they're not talking about the defense. Like, at least it doesn't look like to me. And, like, that's been the crux of every third quarter, at least by what I see, is they can't play defense. And then that translates to them rushing, forcing shots, and here we are. So I ask in leaving, don't take it out on the good Lakers fans, because there are good Lakers fans out there. Every team goes through this. Like, try to extend an olive branch and say, you know what? Come check out what we got. Like, you can always go back to those 17 championships, but this dude, Tyrese Maxey, is different. You should watch more of him. Like, we got this guy up north in Pascal Siakam. When he comes back, he could actually give you a all NBA season. You should enjoy that. This should be the year for the Lakers fan to be able to just have fun watching basketball. And, like, that's what I think you should do. I remember what it was like when I watched the Sixers barely get to 10 wins. I don't wish that on anybody. Like, you've never heard me in 2+ years, Ryan, tell any fan base, I wish you went through what I went through as a Sixers fan.
I do.
Well, you just want to spread violence and chaos. I want people to enjoy basketball.
The only difference, Chris, is I don't think Doc Rivers is a very good coach.
You're right. He's great. Thank you. Point to me. All right. Wait, ladies and gentlemen, we saved the best for last. We saved the best for last.
I can't.
And we have the Sacramento Kings, of which I have no affiliation with. I have never been employed for the Kings, ever. Northern Malou family. Somebody tried to sneak that one in there. No. Vivek Randive did not tender me an offer for employment services and compensate me. Anyway, last night they beat the Cavs, who were the second hottest team in the league in the East behind Milwaukee. And a lot of people kind of wrote the Kings off in this game. And I did not. The Cavs are on a long road trip. They go into Sacramento. It could be a letdown game, but it wasn't. The Cavs and the Kings went back and forth in a wild and entertaining game. And to be honest, the Kings deserve this win. But if Darius Garland has an average game, we're talking something different. But there are very, very good stories coming out of Sacramento with Coach Mike Brown seemingly getting this young squad to buy in and have an identity, and that identity is coined playing the right way. And that is a straight ripoff of what Monty Williams says in Phoenix. The right brand of basketball. So, well, what is this? And people ask, and if you look at the coaching trees, there's a realm of coaches from San Antonio who are about system-based team basketball. And if you've watched any amount of the Kings, you will know and recognize that they have developed a wonderful system of team-based basketball. They are now 4-6. They had some bad losses, but they now have a couple of good wins. Donovan Mitchell, 38 points, game high, 16 for 28, 6 for 14 from deep. He is everything that Cleveland wanted. Jared Allen, 20-7. Evan Mobley, 16-6. Karis LeVert, 21 points, but they could not overcome what has been the best Kings watch that I've seen since Chris Webber. Like, even if they stay at this near 500 pace, maybe get to play in or fail to as the 11th seed, you have to take away that this is a different King squad, and they aren't far away. And they've got a couple pieces that they could actually package up and move without really hurting their team chemistry. One of them being Harrison Barnes on an expiring contract. So imagine they might even be able to be buyers at the deadline to chase something that has been, eluding them for 2 decades. We've got the Daily Sabonis up here, ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and recap the Kings. He'll go ahead and spread the wondrous Kings propaganda. We'll get through the room for your takes. Appreciate you stopping through, Daily. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you, man?
I'm good. It was the best game last night. It was amazing. It was frustrating on both sides. Wild swings, lead changes, ties. It was phenomenal. Talk about it.
No, I would say the past 5 games the Kings have played incredible. Unfortunately, we didn't win all those games, usually because of the refs and no calls and such things like that. If you are a Heat fan, you already know we gave you work, and you won on a Tyler Hero travel. So you already know, Heat fans. Feel free to speak up if you want. And Chris, I want to give you a shout out for actually watching the Sacramento Kings, which I know most of you do not. So just know, after I end my rant, I'm going to log off because I know most of you don't watch them and I don't want to hear your trash takes. That is a fact. First off, we are on the rise. We probably should have 3 more wins, but we've been screwed constantly by the refs because we do not get any respect. Tyler Hero beat us on a walk-off 3, which he traveled on. We could have tied the game with the Warriors and gone to overtime and probably beat them, but we all know that Klay Thompson fouled my man. Sorry, I got to sneeze, but
Kevin Huerter.
Splash Mountain, Kevin Huerter. So we've been constantly screwed. You know what we have. We have no holes. True, we do need a two-way player on the wing. But for the most part, our team is bought in. We have rim penetration. We have shot makers. We have perimeter players. We have good things going on, and our team is bought in. And you know our system is good when players like Trey Lyles are stepping up and hitting 42% from three. You know what I mean? So don't sleep on our team. Watch them before you have an opinion. I know we've been a poverty franchise for the longest time. You cannot insult us. We know we're a poverty franchise, but we have turned the corner. So that's pretty much what I want to say. Please join me. We are on Spaces after every Kings game. We are called Cowbell Talk. Shout out to my stablemate, John Catterson. Give him a follow. He has a very dope podcast, the most technical basketball podcast in the Kings Twitterverse. So please check him out. So that's pretty much what I have to say right now. I could say more, but what's your take, Chris, though? How do you feel?
Well, I laid it out. I think Mike Brown has implemented a system where the floor has been considerably raised. I do not think that they are a top 6 team in the West, but when I look at it, they have 2 choices, and they're going to have to make this choice come trade deadline. Do they buy in with the current team that they have and think that trading away future draft capital with matching contracts to bring in somebody is worth it? And you can do this any amount of ways. Like Rashawn Holmes is $11 million. Delly's at 4. Davis is at 5. So right there, you're looking at 21. And if that's $21 million and you only need to get 15%, like you ain't gonna bring back Buddy Hield. I know that relationship is done. I can tell you that without any hesitation. But like, there's a dude out in Charlotte that could fit perfectly in Terry Rozier. There's another dude in Charlotte, if healthy, would fit perfectly, a little bit more expensive, and that's Gordon Hayward.
We would love PJ, by the way, from Charlotte. So
I don't think you're gonna get that because the price will be high. But you have to decide, like, are you going to be buyers? Because you have Barnes on an expiring. You got Sabonis who's getting an extension. Fox is locked up. Herter's contract's good. Murray's on a rookie. And your bench, the only one you're paying anything worth anything is Monk at almost 10. So, like, you've got cap flexibility. You got to make the decision if you're a buyer. But then you have to realize, and I know you do as a King, I'm speaking to the other people, that then you look up and Vivek Randive is your owner. And then you realize, well, you don't. I know because I pay attention. Daly knows because he pays attention. This man has had to make 2 cash calls to his minority owners in the last 2 seasons, which means he's hemorrhaging money. And that you don't know the reason why they don't have an avid profile in terms of NBA Twitter and other things is because they've reduced spending on marketing expenditures. Like, it is a poverty franchise in every sense in the meaning. And that's why Daly says, I'm not here for that. Like, we already know this. You can't tell me anything. And that's the problem. And that's the anxiety that Kings fans are going to have as we creep closer to January. And we all understand subliminally that if they're at 500, they've got to make a decision. Are they buyers and sellers? And that's where I'm at. Come at me in January. I'll have a better sense. What do you think, Daly?
Yeah, no, I think it's just a matter of if they win out or not. And I don't even think 500 is even the goal anymore. I think we really need to make the playoffs or the play-in, but hopefully the playoffs. And you never know with the West since there are so many injuries. Like, I have Clippers winning it all, but that's only if they're healthy. And really, it's just a battle of attrition. So we'll see what goes on. And I know we're not done making moves. And we do have movable pieces. And so, yeah, we'll just have to find out.
Yeah.
But Chris, I'm going to leave you, man. I appreciate you watching the Kings, and thank you for pushing the Kings agenda. But I am going to head out, and peace to you all. And don't sleep on the team. Watch them before you have an opinion. We're on the rise.
Hey, don't leave. I have one question for you before you leave.
Well, he might be at work and he's sneaking away. Go ahead and you can always add the question on Twitter. Like, people forget. Like, we're here on a social media
You could just
platform.
tweet him.
Yeah, like, why not? Like, yo, you was just in Hoop Spaces. Appreciate you stopping by. I had a question. Bam.
Bam. He left when you said bam, like right on the bam. He left.
Literally
Crazy.
telling you what I would tell my 9-year-old kid. Like in fact, I did that today. He was like, "Dad, sometimes you get mad at me. I just want to know why." And I'm like, "Dude, I say hang up your swim trunks, and like you don't, and then you leave them on the floor and they're wet, and I'm walking barefoot, and all of a sudden I'm stepping in a cold, wet swimming trunk. Like that kind of kills the vibe, man." And he looked at me. He's like, "I never thought about it that way." And I say, "Welcome to my world. I deal with this every day." All right, we've got some hands up. We're going to clear them out. We'll get into the last takes of the day. We'll go first to Chill. What's up? The Cavs lost. It's okay, though. Like I said, if Darius Garland had an average game, I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But what had been shown is there is now a hole that Cleveland and Kobe Altman is going to have to find, and that's the backup point guard.
Well, I mean, to me, we get Rubio back in a month, 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So that will be filled up. But I don't think it's such a backup point guard. That's the thing. I think we need a wing, man. We need an actual wing that can actually stay out on the court for more than 5 minutes.
Like Lowry Markkinen?
Exactly. And Larry, and I've been telling Cavs fans this whole time since we got Donovan Mitchell that Lauri Markkinen is gonna hurt. It's gonna sting, and it has so far. When you have a rotation of Wade and then a Curl to back him up, that's disgusting. So to me, right, last night the Kings, Mike Brown has definitely adopted some of the Warriors' tendencies as far as spacing the floor out. And that's what kills us most of the time. And we don't have quick enough defenders to go and, close out fast enough or anything. And plus we got two between 6'1" and 6'3" guards trying to guard that shit. And the Kings, they did a good job of putting Herder at the 2. So he kind of spread the floor a little bit and also added defense a little bit to them, especially the last 2 minutes. So that kind of hurt us a lot. Yeah, we need a wing. We need like a Jay Crowder or somebody like that, or a Harrison Barnes, which I've been banging the drum for Harrison Barnes so far. He'd be a good addition to this team. But we don't know what we have to give up. But we do need a wing. We do need a wing player badly. And Darius was sick yesterday also. Donovan Mitchell was like, after the game, he's sick, under the weather. So I don't know. If you're JB, why do you play Darius Garland when he's sick? Like, bruh, sit him down and just let D-Mitch handle the point guard and LeVert and then Wade and then Mobley and Allen. You know what I'm saying? That to me is just some stupid stuff. And also, like, our offense needs to be more versatile. We only do pick and rolls the whole time, some pin downs or whatever. We do no flares or anything like that. Our offense is very cut and dry, and we need to add some more offense because sometimes we just be stagnant for a full 4 minutes and don't get shit. So, good win by the Kings. All credit to them. They hit their threes. They shot 15 more free throws than we did. Props on them for hitting their shots. They did a good job last night.
Yeah, and they had half the turnovers too, which was a major factor. 18 for the Cavs, which was high. That was high. But anyway, question to you. As a Cavs fan, I said early on, even with the addition of Donovan Mitchell, the only thing that would make me consider them legit contenders was if they were able to start learning how to play Mobley more in the middle. And over the last few games, we've seen a couple of high post curls by Mobley where he's been trying to get, the lob pass in to Allen. What are you thinking if they're able to do that in terms of diversifying your offense? Then we're going to move over to John real quick from Cowbell Talk, get his take on, then we'll finish up the hands and then clear out. Go ahead, Chill. What's up?
Okay, to me, right, Evan has been good in that little paint area, over the restricted area a little bit, the elbow, that area. He loves that little fadeaway jump shot that he does. To me, he still need to work on his body as far as his stability in the paint because sometimes he's easily getting moved off. But overall, I think he can work on his handles a little bit more, but that'll come in time. Only 21, so he got time. But in my opinion, those like little post ups and stuff like that, like I wanted to see him get the ball more
especially down the stretch. Because I don't want Mitchell having to do all this stuff. Like Mitchell's kept carrying a heavy load on his back. So to me, it's like I would like to see more people get the balls, like Evan Mobley or Jared Allen in the post or something like that, and try to draw fouls, things like that. Garland was just not himself last night. He had like 8 assists and like 5 turnovers. That's awful. He just didn't look himself last night, especially down the stretch, missing free throws, doing all the stuff you don't want out of your point guard to do. He did that last night, and we still only lost by 7. But the Kings kept the pressure on us. Sabonis was killing us down the post. He was aggressive as hell. And Allen couldn't meet that aggressiveness as far as that conviction and trying to get to the line. He just couldn't do it. So I give credit to Sabonis for that. But Evan, I feel like he can just develop his jump shot a little bit more. I don't want to see him shooting at the 3-point line. I'd rather him just take mid-rangers and just post hooks and dunks. That's all I want to see. So, yeah.
Appreciate it. I mean, that 3, he's going to end up adding the 3, I think, at least in the corner, because Allen just can't shoot. Like, he just can't. And if you've ever seen him, like, it's not going to happen. So if you have 2 bigs who can't shoot, you lose the spacing ability. It becomes more inflexible. So he doesn't need to be great. Maybe 32, 34% on 3 attempts is all he needs to do, which is why I think you see Bickerstaff running him out there like that. I don't think that'll be, it'll work itself in, and it'll appear more natural the more he works on it. And I think actually having Kevin Love there is a benefit for that actually specific reason. All right, we're going to move next to John so he can hop in here and give us his take on the Sacramento Kings. He is the co-host of Cowbell Talk with Daily Sabonis, who's already here. John, appreciate you coming in. I told everybody in the beginning of the season, Kendall Murray was a pro-ready college prospect. He had a pro shot, and so far in the early parts of the season, he's proven that correct. He could do better defensively. He could do better as a secondary facilitator. But with him, teamed up with Herter, De'Aaron Fox has all the room in the world, and I think we're seeing the benefit with the wide open offense. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, Keegan's been shooting really well. I think he has a quick release. He's had a few rough games in the past 2 games, but last game was really good against the Cavs. He's shot really well, and Harrison Barnes reappeared. He joined the 2022-2023 season last night, and hopefully he keeps that up and plays pretty well going forward. So that's it. He's another shooter, that's what I'm saying, in the starting lineup. So, and Fox is shooting okay. He's got 36% from 3 this season. He's 55% on catch and shoot threes. You could dig deep into NBA stats and find that. And so if they have 4 shooters plus Sabonis, who can go to work inside and distribute the ball really well, probably the best distributor on the team, then that's good. That's good for the offense for sure. Chris, I actually had a question. I raised my hand because I have a question for Chill or any other Cavs fan or yourself. You talked about it a little bit already, but I watched the Cavs play the Lakers, try to just to watch them before they played the Kings, and I watched the game last night, of course. It seems to me like they try to stagger Mobley and Allen a little bit, at least, but their offense. I know their defense is solid when they're both on the floor, obviously, but it helps their defense. But their offense seems to be a little bit stilted or stagnant. They have some stretch forwards on their bench, like Love and I guess Dean Wade, and so when they're playing with a stretch forward and either Mobley or Allen, their offense seems to be better than when it's just one of those guys. It's just both those guys together on the floor and no other stretch forwards or some. So I just wanted to see what Chill and yourself or anyone else who's a Cavs fan who watches them a lot thinks about that, because I was curious about that. I know that they're vaunted, they're a celebrated pairing, but I know with neither one being a real good shooter from outside yet, it's hard.
Can I take that one?
Sure. We kind of talked about it a couple of times. Hop up in here, Brian. Then we'll let Chill go in as well, so John can get the answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me take that real quick, and it also has to go into with the Mobley thing. You got to realize something. You got a couple things going on here, right? You got a Donovan Mitchell now who's integrated into this team, where he's got to learn to play with these guys, and these guys got to learn to play with him. So that's going to take time. And going into the Laker game, Mobley, Allen, Mitchell, and Garland only were on the court for a total of 28-minute floor minutes throughout the first 10 games or 8 games or whatever it was. That's not a lot of time. A lot of that has to do with rotations, obviously, because JB wants either Garland or Mitchell on the floor at all times. Plus Garland was hurt, so that helped. That didn't help matters out either. So you got to give that. They need to form that chemistry. And the thing about Mobley getting his shots off, that's another thing. If you watched last night, there were 3 or 4 times Mitchell tried to get him the ball. Mobley wasn't even looking for it because he's automatically thinking Mitchell's going to shoot. Okay, and that looked horrible. That's where a lot of our turnovers are coming from. So I'm really not in panic mode, to be honest with you. I'll agree with the fact that maybe we should look for a 3. I got that part. That's becoming clearer by the game. But at the same time, I kind of cautioned everybody coming into this season. Listen, they've got to figure this. They've got to figure some things out. Because when Donovan was in Utah, he was what? Ball dominant. He was their offense. Well, now he's playing with a bunch of guys that can have offense along with him. He's just got to figure out how to make that happen. He's trying. You can see he's trying. Because, again, like I said, just to point out the plays last night, there was 2 or 3 times he tried to get the ball to Mobley because Mobley had a clear lane, but Mobley wasn't even looking for the ball. He was getting ready for a rebound. So those are the type of little chemistry things that's got to come in to play for them. And I've told everybody, for me, it's the end of December to February. Somewhere in that window is when I think you'll see things start to really gel a little bit. Not to the point where I would like it to be. I'm hoping it gets there by All-Star break. But it's going to take a little time for that to come into form, if that makes sense.
Yep, I think it does. I agree. Chill, hop up in here if you have any added thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'll let Dot go. But to me, right, it's like what Brian said. It was like they're not like most of our turnovers come off to when the ball handler and the whatever, the flare out guy or like the corner guy are not on the same page, or the post guy's not on the same page, like they're in the wrong positions. And Donovan Mitchell's such a heavy scorer at times to where it's like, bro, like if you're Mobley, you think, oh, you're just gonna shoot it and most likely he's gonna make it or whatever. So you really don't try and get the ball, be aggressive as you should be necessarily, in my opinion. But to me, I think we need to add Mobley in there a lot more because I don't want Mitchell carrying this heavy offensive load, man. Like he's a one-man team when he's out there, like legitimately. So he needs help at times, especially when he's out here getting freaking pummeled by physicality and stuff when he goes in the lane, driving in the lane and stuff like that. So you need Mobley to help him out as far as offensively. Have him spot up in the mid-range and shoot the ball, or have him get more inside for dunks or easy layups or whatever. So it'll come in time. It's not something that I'm actually really worried about necessarily. That comes with repetition.
The biggest problem with that though is with Jared Allen not being able to shoot either. If they're both playing, that he doesn't have the room.
Yeah, for sure. But also Jared Allen, to me, he's been playing soft. I'm gonna be honest with you. Last he was playing some soft. Like Sabonis was being aggressive as ever.
Let me get Dot in here because I'm running out of time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dot, hop up here. Give your thoughts here on the Cavs, and then we'll round up the Cavs and Kings game with John. Then we'll go to Ty next. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so man, so let me start off in this. I feel like, and if you're probably gonna think I'm crazy or whatever, but I feel like we play much better without Darius Garland on the court. If you see, it shows on the record so far, and I feel like once Darius Garland came back onto the floor outside the Celtics game, it's just been like the Cavs has just been a worse team. Like I don't mean like I'm not trying to say that's going to continue or not, but so far. I feel like he's disrupting the chemistry and just the team because he's just playing like ass right now. He's turning over the ball so much, and he can't shoot either. It's just getting annoying. Honestly, I will let him sit out some games. I'll let him sit out for some more games because he's clearly not 100%. And JV is stupid for playing him 33 minutes when he's not 100%. His rotations are ass. He's talking on Kevin Love when we were making a run with him on the court. He barely plays Cedi Osman when he's shooting like crazy. It just gets annoying, man. And then oh yeah, also he's playing 8-man rotations in fucking November, bro. It's not the playoffs. What are you doing? Also, we need a win, like Chill said, because Levert is not a 3. Arcoro is dog shit, and he does nothing on the court, and he can't provide any offense. His defense is overrated, and he just does cardio sessions every fucking game. It gets annoying because Cavs fans say, "Give him time, give him time." I'm tired of it, man. No, he should be gone from this team.
I definitely feel the frustration, bro.
All right,
Chris,
and
you'd think this team
like,
is 8-3 and 8, not 8-3. Holy smokes!
and then Donovan Mitchell, man, he has to do everything on the court. I swear, he has no help right now, because his point guard can't do shit right now.
All right, I feel you.
Aggressive. Jared Allen needs to be more aggressive, like Chill said, because he's getting bodied by Sabonis and all. How like, come on, man. Like you can't get bodies by Sabonis. Like you.
I'm just.
No offense to Sabonis, but he couldn't even body Sabonis, man. Come on.
I feel for you, Dot, but you're 8-3. Like I don't think it's the end of the world.
You wouldn't think so.
I appreciate it. A question for you, Dot. All right. Beyond all of the bad that you see, okay, I want you to give us a positive. Can you give us a positive for the Cleveland Cavs?
We have Donovan Mitchell. That's a positive for this team, and Evan Mobley.
There you go. It's like I tell my son got in trouble last night, and I tell him, like, look, the one thing in life you got to try not to do is leave on a negative note, but you just gonna have to eat it tonight. You're gonna go to sleep feeling bad because what you did was wrong. So put yourself in position for success, right? And as I am telling you what you did that it was wrong, let me tell you what I respect from this decision. I respect X, Y, and Z. And like that gave him a bridge to like enjoying as much as he could. So Dot, my bridge to you is lean in on the Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley because I think you'll find more positives with the Cavs than not. All right, I got to keep moving. I'm running out of time. So I was going to go to John, but I'm going to go to Ty because he has something he wants to add in for the Kings. Then we'll close with John on the Kings. I'll get Zazu and JF in here, and then I'll get ready to head on out. Appreciate it, everybody. Ty, you're up. Go ahead.
G'day. It's like nearly 6 a.m. for me, so I'm like half awake. The Kings, I've been really enjoying their games this year, as frustrating as the offense has been. And I'm surprised no one has mentioned it at all. Trey Lyles and Kevin Huerter played amazing for the Kings yesterday. Trey Lyles hit that shot to, I think it was a buzzer beater in the third quarter, and Kevin Huerter, was like 2 minutes left. He took a fully contested free, and he just drained it. I feel like we should respect Kevin Huerter because he's immediately come into this Kings team and just looked like a cheaper, better version of Buddy Hield. And he's been amazing. And I do not want to hear Domantas Sabonis slander from anybody right now. He's literally been the engine, kind of the entire offense for this Kings team this year. And De'Aaron's, he's taken a leap defensively. He's taken a leap when it comes to his free-point shooting. Like you said, Chris, this Cavs team is actually, no Cavs are, this Kings team is actually a really fun watch. And even their record says they're 4-6. Honestly, it feels like they're a plus 500 team, no matter what their record says. They've had guys like Della Vadova. I can't believe he's in the NBA in 2022. When De'Aaron was out, he came in and he came up really big in, I think it was the win against the Charlotte Hornets. So for anyone who doesn't watch the Kings, I'm a Pelicans fan, by the way. You should definitely watch the Kings. It is definitely worth your time.
All right, appreciate it, Ty. John, go ahead, close us out on the Kings, what you expect to see, and what I had said earlier, like the biggest problem with the Kings is going to come to a point, I believe, you have to choose whether you are a buyer and a seller, and then as a Kings fan, I'm not a Kings fan. I've lived there for 10 years, went to Arco. As a Kings fan, I know you look at Vivek Randive, and I know you know about the cash calls with the minority owners. I know you know about, the naming issues in terms of naming the stadium and getting compensation. Like, there are red flag signs that the owner might not want to be willing to spend the money. So my question to you is, like, how do you factor that in your outlook for the Kings?
Wow, actually, I told Daly over DM that I didn't know that. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I got you. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah,
I didn't know
he
about
made he
all
made
that
a
stuff. Yeah.
he made a cash call this off season. I believe it was for $500,000 from the minority owners, and he did it in the year of the pandemic as well.
Yeah, I know they had, I don't want to bore people, but they had some kind of partnership with some kind of, consortium that invests in teams. I don't know if that relates to it at all. But anyway, the Kings, they're, like, I wanted to mention real briefly, Malik Monk. I didn't follow the Lakers last year. I don't follow the Lakers, but he was a surprise great playmaker. He's got a very high assist percentage. Trey Lyles is playing out of his mind. He's hustling hella hard and playing pretty well. I think Herter has been unlocked by Sabonis. I didn't follow the Hawks last year, but he's doing a lot better, I feel like, as an offensive player due to working with a distributor like Sabonis who can do DHOs and stuff and so on and so forth. And one last thing about the Kings I'll say is that I wasn't sure what their identity was going to be this season, and I think it might be that they never give up. They keep fighting every game, and that might be why, they look better. All their individual players look better because as a team, they don't give up. Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And in the past, like, X number of years for the Kings, when they got punched in the mouth, whether it was in the first quarter or the fourth quarter, they fell to the mat and counted to 10, and that was it. And they just did the rest of the game, went through the motions to tell the loss. This team so far this season, they get punched in the mouth and they get back up and they keep fighting. So I'll watch that all season and be happy, no matter what the record is. We don't think, as Kings fans, some of us are in here right now, a few of us, we don't think that most of us that are, not delusional, don't think they're going to be, winning, the Western, whatever, doing a whole bunch of noise in the playoffs. But we're just looking for improvement, and we're happy with what we've seen. As far as buyers and sellers, I don't know about this Vivek information you gave me, but what I'll say is that Vivek has rarely sold at the trade deadline. He's tried to buy. His GMs and himself have tried to buy or stood pat, but they've rarely sold off players for picks and stuff like that. So,
all right, appreciate it. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, we have a space with Daily Sabonis, myself, and Megaloo. Her handle is at Megaloo, to you with a U as just the letter U, and it's called Cowbell Talk. And we're after every Kings game, and come check us out for sure.
All right, appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting close to the end. I extended it. I was trying to end at 1:30. Normally we are over at 1. We started late today. I want to say thank you to everybody who's popped in, and for everybody who stayed the entire time. Shout out to you. I appreciate it. This point is for you. If you look up top, there are 4 tweets. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the 3 that I don't need because I'm going to do this ask as people get ready to leave. And I do that because when you leave, you have to actually leave by either pressing a button or moving something on the screen. And I ask that you do us a favor before you leave, like and retweet my newsletter for me. It's my direct ask to the last 50 people in the room for the day. Like, if you are in here any bit of time and you're getting a value or a benefit, like, that's the minimum that I ask. I'm not even asking for a penny. I'm asking for 5 seconds worth of work to and retweet. And if you happen to read it, subscribe if you like it. And if you don't like it, tell me why. Like, maybe I add something so you do like it, or maybe I just say, okay, but that's just not me. Like, we don't know. But in this build, similar to last year, I understand the long-term view. This is a journey of 1,000 steps, and every step that I take is a step that I can only take if I get the support. Right. And that's what I'm asking for with the like and a retweet. So please, if you've been in here and you haven't done it yet, it helps. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and clear up the hands. We'll get ready for the last take of the day. We'll go to JF first and then Zazu. JF, last talk on the NBA. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here to tell everybody I figured something out. I figured out who you are, Chris. You are the Midwest region scout and recruiting for the Sacramento Kings. It's the reason why you had a little chip on Keegan Murray. This has to be.
Iowa, come on, it only makes sense, Chris. I don't know what they're paying you, but look, you're doing a great job, Chris. They look good this year. I will go to that point with Tyler Hero. Yeah, it was a travel, but the shot was still made, so I'll still give him that. If you look at our other couple games, it went down to the wire with a 3-point shot, and we missed those. So at least we made one against the Kings. I think we're 1 for 3 right now on the last second shot, but I can't even say that because with that Portland game, Josh Hart just outshot us. So even with Max Drew shooting that last minute three, Josh Hart came and took my heart out for the night. So that's why I was kind of out of it. But I feel like I feel the same way that the Sacramento Kings fans feels like. Yeah, we're not a 500 team, but we still sure play like a 500 team. You know what I'm saying? So we got like I said, we got the Charlotte Hornets tonight. This is just a preview to see where Terry Rozier is going to go and maybe Kelly Oubre. And I'm liking Terry Rozier to Miami. Appreciate it, Chris.
All right, appreciate you. Zazu, you're up. Final take of the day.
Heat are trash, first of all. Give it up, Cake. Second of all, yo, listen. I don't know why the Kings are using my boy Terrence Davis, but you guys have a dude who was a a a first team all rookie team. Like, y'all just have him on the bench. That guy can shoot the lights out. I think you guys have more weapons out there. Y'all just need more wing players, and you guys will be straight. Trust me. And in terms of Cavs, guys, listen, Donovan Mitchell is not gonna change. I know you guys are so optimistic that like he's gonna gel well with the big man. There's a reason why Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert never worked out. Donovan Mitchell is a one-man team. He's always been like that since he was in Utah Jazz. Do not expect this guy to change for nobody. I like. Hey, I know I'm a Raptors fan, and you guys think Raptors don't like Cleveland Cavaliers people. Trust me, guys. I'm very non-objective. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm telling you guys, Donovan Mitchell is not gonna change. Your big men are probably gonna suffer in terms of their scoring outputs and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is actually gonna help your team. I think he, in fact, is gonna put your team backwards. Yeah, you guys gonna find success. Yes, trust me. You guys are gonna find success in the season. Wait till the playoff comes. You guys
we got it. We got to keep it moving. I know you want to
I'm
respond.
gonna leave it at that, though. I'm gonna leave it at that. Trust me.
Mitchell's fault. It's Darius Garland's fault.
Let me move on. We're gonna go to Scotty's him over here betraying Raptors Nation Zazu, saying that he needs SGA on the Raptors and he's willing to sacrifice Scotty Barnes.
Man, who's that fool, bro?
Okay. So hear me out. Scotty Barnes is great. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be an amazing player in this league. But I think personally, with the ages of the core, Pascal Siakam, OG, and Fred, that he will not reach the prime that we need him to reach, and it will not align with the Raptors' prime that we need him to reach in the time that Pascal is ready to be the number one option, or Scotty's going to be the number one option. So we trade away Scotty Barnes. We get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We pair him up with Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, and Shai is going to be the big four. And that roster is a championship level roster. You can't tell me otherwise.
Kiwa, man.
I'm dead ass.
Bro,
I'm not even joking.
What are we doing, bro?
What? That sounds amazing.
That's some Kool-Aid.
For how many years?
Yo, like what kind of Kool-Aid did you drink this morning, right?
I'm telling you right now. Listen.
It's rough out here. It is rough out here in these streets.
You want to get rid of a potential superstar like Scotty Barnes has like. Oh my gosh! You want to get rid of that?
Hey, I gotta keep it. I gotta keep it moving. I gotta get John in here. John, 60 seconds. Go.
Which John? There are two.
You, John.
All right. First things first. I know I'm happy with the win yesterday. I mean, we're very proud that we did it without Kawhi and without Robert Covington today. We're just biding our time to let Tinkering Tide do his thing, and also I just need to remember that I want to congratulate Luke Cornett on being a dad again. It's important that there's some new dad energy coming out from him. So watch out for the next couple of games. And just important, basketball is life around these parts. The qualifying for the World Championships is about to start, and as what Chris said, David Stockton's the next guy to follow Luke Cornett in the greatness of things. Thank you, and have a good weekend.
Absolutely. And just like Lou Cornett, I am telling you now, you could look forward to David Stockton possibly being on a Boston Celtics roster so that I can still torment all of those Boston Celtics fans with saying you've got the greatness of Lou Cornett and now you've added the greatness of David Stockton. I like that.
Yo,
All right.
Chris.
Well,
What are you gonna do when the World Cup rolls out, man? You gotta find a way to incorporate the World Cup to this, man.
I probably will. I don't follow La Liga or Premier League, but I actually watch the World Cup. It'll more likely
I think he's
be
referring
on
to
in
the
the
one
background.
next year. Chris.
Well,
He's the one
yeah,
referring to next year.
yeah, and Qatar, yeah, or Qatar. Like I say Qatar, y'all say Qatar. We can fight forever. I don't really care. It's an island. I've been there. You probably haven't.
You
Shout
know
out to
also that the basketball version is next year.
yeah. No, I think he was talking about the World Cup, the actual World Cup,
Yeah. So,
not the basketball version World Cup.
and you know where it's at.
Yeah. The FIBA basketball World Cup is in the Philippines, right? Or is it in Japan? I forget.
We're sharing it with them, but
Okay.
the most of the stuff is right here in the island.
But
See,
I'm talking
like-
about FIFA World
Well,
Cup.
yeah, but he's where he's at. He's just bringing us to him, saying, "Ha, I get the FIBA World Cup because we're hosting," and so now like we have to leave the show with negativity, and he's just pushing himself up and elevating his status. I got to give him a point. That's good propaganda, sir. Very well done. That, by the way, is the sign of a good reporter. Give him a round of applause. And if you're wondering, I have zero belief that the United States national team will do anything but embarrass us because that's actually what they do. Literally, that's what they do. I am 40 years old. I will say what I told this diehard soccer fan back when I was 10. Y'all ain't the NBA. Show brought to you by Slam Goods. Head over to slamgoods.com. You can pick up the apparel that you've been missing out in your life and some collectibles too. If you go to the Dime with Josh Rodriguez, I need to get this up here. You will be able to see a live shot of my mantle where I have exactly what I'm telling you right now to go get. The Kobe Bryant trilogy of the Rewind series. It's every magazine that Slam wrote about Kobe Bryant. They're $10 a piece, $30 for the 3-pack. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. Take a trip back in time. You'll enjoy it. It's Kobe, y'all. Mamba forever. Back tomorrow, better than ever. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out.